Now loading Bro-Op Radio.
What's up, you glorious motherfuckers? It is I, Tenseiken, and I am back on my hosting throne, bringing you the Bro-Op Radio podcast, the 11th episode of the Bro-Op Radio podcast, the podcast that I'm sure is just ecstatic as fuck that I'm back. What do you guys think?
We really could have done without you, I'm going to be honest.
All right. Well, this is us signing out, guys. No, it really is great to be back. If you guys have been keeping up or anything, you know that I've been moving around a little bit, had a lot on my plate, but it's great to be back. As always, joined by my bro operatives, Jesse, Chase, Ian, also known as Jay Gatsby, Super 64, and Justice. Nailed it in order. What's up, guys? How y'all doing?
I'm doing fantastic. How about you guys?
I'm doing okay. I just want to play some Sonic.
Did you end up getting the bundle?
Yeah, I bought the bundle.
Well, hell yeah.
Did you get All-Star Racing Transformed?
No, I emailed them and asked them to please not put that in there.
Fair.
But no,
And
yes,
I'm,
I do have it.
And I'm just drifting away again in Margaritaville right now.
Excellent. Yes, Justice is actually joining us while he's on vacation, so that's commitment.
Live from Saturday.
Live from fucking
Saturday.
what?
Live from New York. It's Saturday night.
Yeah, he's vacationing in the goddamn past.
It's Saturday where I'm at. Which I'm pretty sure nowhere in the entire world is Saturday right now.
I don't think so. I mean, I'm not a, doctor, but I don't know nothing about any of that. No, we got a cool episode for you guys coming up. We're just going to talk E3. This episode is a little late. We meant to do this before now, but just because of adulting, basically.
Yeah.
Vacations and us being adults and trying to be adults the best we can.
Yeah.
It's
Say
just been
adulting
kind of
or
hard.
adultery.
Both.
I'm so busy with adultery.
Technically, we're not too late because I've seen some that just came out today. Like, for instance, Yahtzee. He just now did his E3 video today.
Well, shit, yeah. Okay, that makes me
So
feel a little bit better.
So we're not the only
Yeah.
ones then. So
Yeah, if we're like still on the same page as Yahtzee, that's cool. So.
But no, we're going to talk a little bit about E3 2016, some of our impressions, thoughts, opinions. I was actually there. I got a chance to go, and I enjoyed it. It was my first E3 ever, and I had a fucking blast. So talk about my experience at E3 as well. Don't really have a...
How about for your next trip, you go straight to hell?
How about you don't interrupt me when I'm trying to host a fucking podcast.
Just saying.
And besides, we've already vacationed in hell once. You were with me.
Yeah, I've actually been talking about that a lot this vacation. But go ahead. Anyways.
We don't really have a plan of attack. Usually we kind of have our podcast sort of scheduled out as to what topics to talk about. We're just going to have like an open couch discussion. It's kind of what they did with the previous episode on Warcraft movie and death threats and whatnot. So we're going to try to do something sort of similar. Just talk about E3, and hopefully you guys will enjoy what we have to say. If you don't, thank you for trying.
Yeah, there's the fucking door.
Yeah. Thank you for giving us a shot, but it's whatever. But before we get into that, have you guys been doing anything interesting since the last episode?
Oh, man. So, mostly, I have been trying to get my computer to act fucking right. I tried to do a couple of random solo streams over the past couple of days and played a little bit of Assassin's Creed Revelations. I never did finish that series through 3, and I want to go back and get some of that done. How about you guys?
I've been playing a lot of Overwatch, and I started watching Game of Thrones last night. And that's about it.
Oh.
I'm like I said, I'm on vacation, having a really, really good time. Went to the beach yesterday, got burnt like a motherfucker, and drank. It was a lot of fun. But as far as like gaming and stuff goes, I've actually been playing The Witcher 3
Ooh, shit.
finally, and I'm enjoying the fuck out of it. It's been a really, really fun game. And one of the reasons I'm enjoying it as much as I am is I did also just start a new D&D campaign. Like the day before we left for this trip, and my character is pretty much a Witcher, and that's one of the reasons why I've been playing The Witcher, is because it's kind of giving me some ideas for my character. So I've been really enjoying it. It's been a lot of fun. So
Yeah, I actually need to go back and actually try that game. I've owned it for like a year, and I've never really played it. Amy's played it more than I have.
I forgot you bought it.
Yeah. So I need to at some point dig it out.
It is a super fun game. Like it's like a lot of people who've been watching me play it who have never played it said it reminds them a lot of Fable, but it's just a lot more dark and grittier.
Mm-hmm.
And I could see that.
Yeah, I can see it too. What little I saw of it, but since the last time I was on the podcast, just been moving around, trying to relocate from one location to another. Went to E3, found out I'm going to be a daddy. Been playing some new games. Now let's kind of backstep a little bit. Yeah,
I was about to say, are we going to gloss over that one for our fans here? Like, sure as shit, none of them give a damn. Like,
I was
maybe
going
not.
to. I figured it was a big deal.
Nobody else may care, but I do. Super excited. Gonna have a tiny one on the way. So that's obviously the biggest news out of my world right now. So pretty pumped about that. But yeah, I did get to go to E3, which is going to segue pretty much into our main topic. But I'm sorry, I'm skipping ahead. Before we get into that, because I'm going to give the floor to Jesse. I think you had something you wanted to mention.
Yeah, so normally I go ahead and take some time to update you guys on like videos that have been out and like comments and things like that. We haven't had a whole lot of comments since our last podcast because we haven't had a new upload yet, and expect that within a week or so. Today is usually the day that we would upload, but I am a little behind with my own adulting, so expect a Dead Rising episode in the next few days. In lieu of any comments posted, I want to go ahead and share something that's just really brightened my day. It's a huge milestone for us, at least in my opinion. We have our first piece of illustrated fan art from a fan of ours named Akuru. I'm going to go ahead and put it up on screen right now. Okay, so this is fan art of our Starbound characters from our playthrough of Starbound that we've been posting on the YouTube page. And so up here at the top we've got Prince Wasabi, Captain Simeon, and Ted Bot in order, standing on top of Fukiyu Medical Center with Dr. Suicide dropping off the side. And I just absolutely love this picture. I think it's hilarious, and I wanted to share it with all of our fans. I haven't put it on the Twitter yet, but I've also posted it on our Facebook if you want to get a better look at that. So just a big thank you to Akuru for spending the time to draw this up, because seeing stuff like this has made this all the more real to me. So
Yeah, it's my wallpaper on my phone.
I mean, that's probably gonna happen for me as well. So
It's been a really, really Courtney. I was like, Courtney, we've made it. And she's like, what do you mean? I was like, we have fan art.
You know what's sad is that I don't understand any of it because I don't play Starbound with you guys.
Well,
Yeah.
here's the thing. So Akuru did bring this up whenever he was going to draw it. He wanted to draw our Starbound characters because that series is among the most popular of our YouTube stuff. But he was real bummed out when he realized, shit, I can't draw Red in it. And he was just like, well, fuck it. I'll just draw something else after I'm done with this. And I don't know if he still plans on it, but as far as I'm concerned, Rhett is channeling Dr. Suicide right now, because that is a Rhett face right there. I don't know about you guys, but that is a real fucking Rhett face.
Oh, let me take a look at this picture here. Let me pull this up. And
He looks like one of the doctors from an anime that I can't quite place the name of at the moment. I know he's in one of the videos.
He's the main, he's the dad doctor from Evangelion.
Yeah,
that's what he looks like,
him.
doesn't he?
He looks just like that to me.
Shinji, get in the fucking robot.
Okay, so I'm supposed to, or you're saying the face is the guy falling?
Well, yeah, that seems like a Rhett face to me. Maybe it's the beard. I don't know, but
I'll take it.
But
and I also love how Jesse's so disturbed by this, and Chase is just like, oh no, and I'm just like, good. Just let the monkeys die.
Well, let me go ahead and just also back up the point that this is fantastic. This is great. This is very, even though I don't play Starbound with the guys and everything, I know speaking as a group, this is really just great and very uplifting and just all that happy horse shit. So,
and again, Rhett, I'm sure you'll make it one day. Just
maybe
keep
one
trying.
day. No worries. I mean, it's no worry. This is fantastic fan art. This is great. Obviously, no pressure for anybody to do any Tenseiken fan art. Cough. But this is fantastic and it means a lot to us. So thank you so much for this. This is Awesome. All right, so if there's no other news, let's just move on into E3. Like I said, no plan of attack. We're just going to talk about it, talk about my experience, talk about games we were excited for, games that we thought sucked dick, and just open couch discussion. So, who wants to lead this off?
What's the first thing we want to talk about?
That's a big question.
The Last Guardian, obviously.
I mean, that looks fucking good, and since you've said it, it's happening. I mean, let's talk about The Last Guardian.
Is anybody else pumped for that, or is that just me?
I mean, I'm
I'll
pumped for it.
probably play it.
Mm-hmm.
I'll play it. It's one of the like 3 games I wanted to try out when I was at E3 and did not get a chance to do so. They had this really cool fucking an interactive picture that had the it's like a archway, kind of a hallway you could stand in front of, and it had that fucking cat bird thing, whatever that is with the trailer. Like it would actually interact kind of with you because you had this little shield you could use, and I guess it knew where the shield was, so it would interact with it and you get your picture made with it and stuff. So, but that's the only thing Last Guardian I got to see at the actual event. I didn't get, besides like trailers or anything, I didn't get a chance to play it or nothing like that. So I was kind of bummed out about that. But no, I know a lot of people are really pumped about it. Do we have any see, I didn't play the game, but it's like, what's the game? It's
okay. It's sort of a series of spiritual successors, right? Like so first it was Ico, and then it was Shadow of the Colossus.
That's right. Okay, I forgot it was a part of that particular universe, so to speak.
Mm-hmm. So to answer your question, White Wolf, we're going to answer that over the course of the podcast, but this is one of the things that I'm the most excited for, just because I'm a huge Shadow of the Colossus fan. I'm not necessarily a huge weird bird dog fan. I don't know what the fuck this thing is, but I'm gonna play it. And this was a huge announcement last E3 because it kept getting delayed and kept getting delayed, but we really didn't see a whole lot new out of it from this E3. I just thought I'd bring it up.
How do you think it's gonna play? Because like from the trailers, it's kind of hard to tell. Like it looks like it might have some puzzles. You know, that thing's surely gonna die before the end of it. Like you just know it's going to. They got to break your heart somewhere.
Well, I mean, its anatomy's got to be all fucked up. I don't see how it's alive now.
Yeah, me either, really.
Well, like...
I was actually going to mention how I thought that it's going to be an extremely filthy game.
Yeah. I feel like the way the mechanics are going to work from what I've seen are... so, like, you can ride on this thing, but it's been mutilated. Like, it's supposed to have wings, and it doesn't really have full-grown wings. So I feel like it will probably carry you from area to area, and then you'll go around on foot doing puzzles and, like, opening ways for him to continue going. The way I had it described to me once by somebody whose dad probably worked at fucking Nintendo was that this Guardian thing is one of many giant creatures and that it will actually fight the other ones, but that could have been just complete horse shit. I haven't found any substantiated claim backing that.
Yeah, I honestly don't see how it would fight anything.
Yeah.
But, you know, whatever.
Well, what else do we want to talk about? I'm ready to just move right along.
I mean, I can just start off talking about games I got to try out or just stuff I was hyped about from E3, and we can just go from that. First and foremost, okay, I had 2 games going into this that I told myself I absolutely have to play no matter how long it takes me to do so. And the first one was Bloodstained Ritual of the Night, which I'm a huge Castlevania fan, and that's Koji Igarashi's newest project since he's left Konami. Very much in the vein of Castlevania, kind of the Metroidvania style games. So I absolutely had to try that out. I've been excited about that for over a year now. And also Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild. And those were the 2 games I knew that I had to absolutely play no matter what. Like no matter how long it took me, I knew I had to play those. I was lucky enough on the first day to actually play Bloodstained. They didn't have a big booth for it or nothing. It was actually, they kind of had it set up where, kind of like arcade machines. You just had one game kind of lined up next to the other for some of these, and they had a couple of cabinets for Bloodstained, and there was this very short line for it. So I was like, "Fuck yeah, I'm hopping in line. I'm gonna play this. This is gonna be the first thing I get to do at E3. This is great. It's appropriate." So I hop in line, and I'm sitting there waiting to play, and I look over, and lo and behold, Koji Igarashi, the man himself, is just standing there watching people play his game, and you guys know that I took advantage and got me a selfie with that man because I am a huge fan, and I was almost like starstruck. I was like, oh my god, it's Iga, like it's him, you know? Yeah. So I got a selfie. That's how I kicked off my E3, was getting a selfie with Igarashi and playing Bloodstained. My thoughts on Bloodstained? It lived up to my hype. Granted, if you've played Castlevania Symphony of the Night or any of the Metroidvania style games, it's plays more or less exactly the same. It even feels the same. That's actually what I wanted. I wanted just that Castlevania feel because I'm such a fan of that style of game. And it played like Castlevania. It's its own game. It's not related to the Castlevania universe at all because but people are pretty much calling it a spiritual successor. And it played Castlevania. You level up your character. You got power ups. You can actually interact with certain parts of the environment. That was kind of cool because you learn a fire spell kind of early in the demo, and you have to use that later on to light this cannon to blow open this wall so you can progress through the stage. It's pretty awesome the way they put things together. It plays very smoothly. I was real worried to begin with because it had that 2.5D look to it with the 3D backgrounds and the 3D sprites. It's a side-scrolling game. They did that once with the release of Castlevania Rondo of Blood in North America, the PSP version. They gave it a 2.5 overhaul, and I didn't care for that too much. I thought it played a little stiff. It didn't look as good as the original game, and I don't care for that version. I prefer the original way over it. So I was a little worried going into this game that I would have a similar feel, or that I'd have a similar opinion on it, or a similar effect. No, it lived up to my hype. I had fun playing this game. It played very smoothly. If I wasn't excited for it before, I'd freaking blown away excited for it now. So, yeah.
One question I have about it real quick is, what's the lore to this one? Like,
does it expand on any of that in the demo you played?
It didn't really talk about it. You play as it's got a female main character, and I forget her name. I knew this like a year ago. I know like the main bad his name's going to be Jebel, and he's supposed to be voiced by David Hayter now that I think about it, because that was one of the Kickstarter tiers, like reward tiers, and they blew that out of the water whenever they launched a Kickstarter. So yeah, he's supposed to be voiced by David Hayter unless something's changed. But I don't really know what the lore is. The demo did not take place in a castle. The main game is going to take place in a castle because when the Kickstarter was going on, the different reward tiers was more levels, basement to the castle. I mean, it was really focused on the castle. Actually, one of the tiers was Iga's biggest castle ever, and it passed that.
That's awesome.
But this game, the demo took place on a ship, like a kind of a big pirate ship type thing. I'm guessing it's probably the intro level where the main character is going to the castle.
Yeah.
But that was all the demo was just like the ship level. As far as the lore, I really don't know. I'm not sure what the lore is going to be just yet.
Real quick, like not necessarily lore, but like what were the like monsters themed as? Like are they still kind of like medieval, like vampires and shit like that?
Kind of gothic style,
Yeah.
like Castlevania. Yeah, it's still very much in the vein of that. You had weird like tiger heads with like 4 legs that would spin around, and they had like gargoyle looking things you would fight, and it was very Castlevania-esque. Like the feel of it, the aesthetics still feels like kind of an older Castlevania game. It's just not Castlevania. So
I've moved the picture over a little bit because you just described something that was actually in the concept art. You said the leg thing. Yeah, I feel like that reminds me of that. And I had another.
That's it. That's the one. Yeah.
So you were describing it being like 2.5D. So like, would you compare it to, like you said, it's 2D sprites moving in the front, or is it 3D models?
It's all 3D models. It's 3D backgrounds and 3D models. It's just side scrolling.
Oh, okay. So it looks kind of like this concept art, but it's not like 2D images, because that's what I was imagining. Right. I was imagining that it was kind of like the way that like a Guilty Gear game looks or something like that.
Well, the first example that comes to mind is like New Super Mario Brothers.
Okay.
You know how it's got like full 3D, but it's just side scrolling.
Okay. That's
kind of obviously that's way more colorful than what this is, but that's kind of a similar graphical style as what this game took.
Something else I was gonna bring up was like the new Mortal Kombat games. They're kind of 2.5 because they're 3D models and stuff like that, but they're in a 2D landscape.
Okay, all right.
Yeah, I could see that being an example. Yeah, I mean
it's just Mortal Kombat's way more realistic, I guess.
And this is probably going to be more stylized. So do the 3D models still look a lot like this in terms of like just the visual theme?
Oh yeah, visually like that's the main character you see in the middle, the girl. Mm-hmm. They all look exactly the same. They're just 3D models in the game, actually in the final game.
Okay.
Or in the demo they were anyway.
All right. Well, awesome.
So yeah, I'm super hyped about Bloodstained. I cannot wait for that to come out. I'm not sure. I think March of next year is when it officially comes out. Which I gotta get on the game here because I never backed it back when I was on Kickstarter, like I should have. Now you can still go back and back it now. It's called the Slacker Backer feature, where you can still back it and get your copy and stuff. But I need to hop on that quick so I can get my copy in because I'm not sure if it's going to like retail or what the deal is as far as the copies it's going to sell. But yeah, so Bloodstained did not let me down. I guess we can go ahead and just jump into a big subject now.
Well, let me ask you one more question about this real
ahead.
quick, and I will leave you alone. Did you have any dislikes about this game?
I didn't. I was literally in cloud nine the whole time I'm playing it, and I'm pretty sure I had a smile on my face the entire demo because I was just so psyched. And part of that was because playing that demo, that was the first like game I played at E3. Part of that was just because as I'm playing, I'm just thinking like I'm at E3, like this is happening. I'm playing a game before it's even released. This is fun. So that's probably part of it. But no, I had a blast. I wanted to play the demo again, but next guy plays. So,
well, sorry for interrupting you with that. I was just curious.
No, go ahead. That's fine. That's the point of this discussion. You guys just ask away. But if there's nothing else to talk about Bloodstained, because I'm pretty sure I'm really the only one who's just super, super psyched, we'll go ahead and jump into something I'm sure we're all excited about.
Hell
The second game I had to play.
Hell yeah. We Happy Few. No?
Yeah.
Okay.
No. Which, is that a Mafia reference?
No, but I'll talk about that game later. You go ahead and talk about what you're getting at.
I was going to talk about Zelda.
Yeah.
Breath of the Wild. Anybody else? Anybody want to kick off, or you guys want me to just talk?
Somebody else can, but I mean, I'm just excited to talk about it in general. Like it I feel like a lot of people have complained about the way this game looks, and that has surprised the shit out of me because I'm personally super pumped for it.
Mm-hmm. Whoop, hold on. Sorry. Okay, Zelda. I didn't get a chance to play this until Saturday. Not Saturday. I keep thinking it took place on a weekend, but it took place right smack in the middle of the week. Wednesday was the day I got to play this, and I had to wait in line 3 hours to play a 35-minute demo of Breath of the Wild, which it was worth it because I got to play it, and they gave me like a medallion and a shirt after it was all said and done. So it was worth the wait. But God, I was super impressed with Legend of Zelda: Breath of the Wild. Real fast, since they announced it last year at E3, a lot of people have been saying, okay, it's Zelda but Elder Scrolls, like Elder Scrolls but in the Zelda universe or whatever, know, like Skyrim plus Zelda. Honestly, that's exactly how it felt like to me, and I was totally fine with that because there's so many elements from those style of games that were definitely put into this, such as crafting, cooking, weapons you have to actually repair and replace and stuff as you play through it. Weather affects you. Like you have to dress for the weather, otherwise Link will freeze and shiver. Like if it's cold, he'll freeze and shiver, and I don't know what kind of other drawback there is to it, as far as like health or anything. But I mean, you have to actually prepare for whatever zone you're in. What else did I see that was awesome? As far as the lore of the game, I'm not sure where it actually takes. Which the Zelda timeline's fucked already. Let's just be honest.
Yeah.
It's so hard to make heads and tails of the Zelda timeline. I mean, even though we have an official timeline, it's still weird. So I'm not sure where in the timeline it takes place. I just know Link's been asleep for, I want to say 100 years, and he gets woke up by some female voice, which is another thing. Voice acting. There's voice acting in Zelda finally. Unless it was in Skyward Sword, because I didn't play that one.
Honestly, yeah, I noticed that in the trailer, and I was pretty pumped about it. Just because, I know that in the past they've tried not to do that, and I could see why they might choose to do that instead, just for a theater of the mind thing. But personally, I'm a little tired of reading a box of text to somebody going, "Hey!" like
yeah, just like that one dialogue, that one word dialogue they have.
Of course, that did
games.
result in one of my favorite nicknames for Link ever, which is just Link. Chase,
Go ahead. I was just gonna say I do have a theory of where it takes place. I feel like it takes place sometime after Wind Waker, because the world itself is very from what I could see in the trailer and stuff, the world is very barren. Like it's a lot of plains and stuff like that, and not didn't look like there's a whole bunch of like cities and stuff like that. And I almost feel like it's like based in a Hyrule after the waters receded. And there was also a couple of monsters I've seen in the game that I've only ever seen in like Wind Waker, like the leaf things. I can't remember what they're called, but like they're like the little brown things with the leaves on their face.
Mm-hmm.
They're in this game, and
Yeah.
I've only ever seen them in Wind Waker before.
I was actually going to ask you, Chase, if you had the same theory, because that it's interesting that you mentioned that, Ian, because other people have had the same theory but backed it with different points. So, Chase, did you see that?
No. What I have seen though, and I can't remember what they actually said because it was just one of those like random ass interviews that wasn't part of like the main stage of E3. But they like said where it takes place, but not exactly. They were just like, oh, this is before Ocarina of Time, but then that's like all they said.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't even know if that's the specific game they actually said. I just threw that out there. But I don't really have a theory on it because like you don't really see those what are they called, whatever, the goblins in this game. Like they first show up in Wind Waker, but now they're in like a shitload of them.
Mm-hmm.
So like I don't really know what to think of where it takes place.
The thing that I spotted on Reddit that I did want to mention is that somebody, I don't know if they took a photo or what, but there was a item description in the game that was like crystals or salt or something, but it was just like, these are left over from whenever this area was covered in an enormous ocean.
Oh, okay. That's interesting. I didn't see that.
I feel like that's pretty telling. I would love to go back and find that again to show to you guys, but I just don't have it handy.
Now that you mention it, because the demo started with Link being woke up, and he's kind of like in this underground cave type thing, and he walks outside to Hyrule, and you see the whole land, which was, first of all, this was the Wii U version of the game, because I didn't have anything NX there, but it was just beautiful. Like, this game is gorgeous. And it shows, like, the whole land, and you see, like, you see Death Mountain in the distance, and where, like, Castletown should be, there's, like, this demonic fucking Satan scrotum castle. It's ridiculous. But, like, directly to your right, though, when you turn around and look after you walk out of that cave, is the Temple of Time. And it's very, like, broken down and busted, and it looked, to me, like the Temple of Time from Ocarina. So that's when I was like, okay, this takes place after Ocarina, because this looks like the Ocarina of Temple of Time, but aged, like way aged. But now that you mention it, it did kind of have a rusty look to it. And I guess, I mean, I don't know how much of it's like metal or whatever, but I guess that could be a result of it being submerged underwater for a time. I'm not sure. So I'm not sure. I'm not sure if that actually ties in or not. But yeah, at first, like I said, I thought it was the Ocarina Temple of Time because it looked just like it from the outside. But there wasn't enough in the demo to actually tell when this game takes place.
Well, then, what about some of that gameplay? Like, how'd you feel playing it?
Oh, it played really well, which I don't have a whole lot of experience on the Wii U because I've never owned one. But, I mean, I had no trouble just picking up the gamepad and start playing this game. The fighting is basically like it's always been. It's the same... it's the same Z targeting and whatnot, except with like the arrows, you can either aim them manually or you can use the gamepad to like aim them, kind of like you did with the 3DS version of Ocarina of Time. You can just kind of move it around and aim it yourself.
Oh, right, yeah.
Yeah. There was an interesting feature that I saw in the video they showed us before we actually went in and played it, because they showed us a little quick video of some stuff that we weren't going to be able to actually do in the demo. And one of the moments that jumped out to me was... it showed Link and he's running, and you can run in this game. You can run and jump and climb. So that's new. But it showed him running, and he jumped off a cliff, and below him was like a mob of goblins or whatever around a fire. And he went into some kind of weird like bullet time slowdown mode, and as he's in midair, takes his arrow out and starts shooting the goblins. So that was kind of neat. Like that's, you're able to do some more heroic stunts that way. That's not something we've seen in previous Zelda games. So I thought that was pretty cool. Chat's bringing up, Fatouche is bringing up in chat that you can summon Wolf Link as a companion if you have the amiibo. That is true. And there's actually two things to that. If you have the Wolf Link amiibo, you can put it into the game and you just get standard Wolf Link with like 3 hearts. However, if you've completed the Cave of Shadows, I think it's called, from Twilight Princess HD, if you've completed it and you have that progress saved to Wolf Link, when you put him into Breath of the Wild, he'll have just as many hearts and he'll have all the same stats he had in Twilight Princess.
That's really cool.
And you can use him to go hunt food and stuff. Like you kill an enemy, he can go get it for you and some cool stuff like that. So that was actually really neat. The Wolf Link stuff. Sound like Chase? Somebody have something to say?
Yeah, I got a question that I doubt was in the fucking demo, but like, just from watching those girls play it on the stage, I don't really like how fast weapons degrade. It looks like you get about 3 hits in them and then they break, and I'm just like, fucking why? And then on top of that fact, like once you get the Master Sword, what point is there ever going to be to pick up another weapon?
Yeah, that's interesting. I haven't put that much thought into it yet. And the demo didn't let you didn't get as far as getting the Master Sword. Now, I will say this, just the standard ass sword I started off the demo with, it took more than 3 hits. Like it took a good little bit to wear it down, and when it gets to where one more hit's going to destroy it, it'll warn you and give you the option to just chuck it at somebody for like a last ditch attempt to kill them. You could just chuck the whole thing at them while it's still intact before it breaks. So I thought that was kind of neat. But like I said, it took a little while to wear that sword down. So, and I'm sure. Go ahead.
Sorry. Well, the way I think it should work, I think it should be more like Monster Hunter. Like your sharpness goes down and you start doing less damage. It doesn't make sense to me that your metal ass sword is just gonna snap in two.
I guess the way that I'm looking at it is that it's trying to encourage you to like have fun with the variety of other weapons, but then like maybe the more important ones you get will be way more durable, and then of course the Master Sword will probably be just completely
What I was thinking as far as the Master Sword goes is in the trailer we see it like all like kind of dilapidated looking, like it's got like grass and stuff growing on it, like it hasn't been used in forever. And what I'm thinking is once you finally get it, it may be weak, and you may have to like upgrade it along the way. And it has the capability of being the best sword in the game by the time you have it finished, but because it's the Master Sword, but it may not be from the get go.
Yeah. I feel like the durability thing almost reminds me a little bit of the rental shit from the new 3DS Zelda. In the fact that they're, instead of having like items that are like, oh holy shit, you got the boomerang and you've got the boomerang forever. It's just like, yeah, here's a boomerang, don't fucking lose it. Like, you know, because so like I feel like you will be presented with a huge variety of shit that you will want to try to conserve and use in specific scenarios, but then you've always got like the Master Sword to fall back on whenever that becomes available.
Another thing is I can't remember where I heard this at, but I heard somewhere. I was listening to something or watching a video, and I didn't see anything about this at E3 specifically. I've actually seen this since E3, but someone pointed out that the game is set up for you to play it however you want to. There's no particular order or nothing. In fact, if you want to, you're supposed to be able to go straight to the main boss as soon as you start the game. If you choose to do so, you're just going to probably get your ass handed to you because you're completely underprepared.
Okay,
but
that's really intriguing to me. Where did you say you heard that from?
I don't know. I think it was on another podcast, actually, now that I think about it.
They said it on stage while they were playing.
Oh,
Yeah.
holy shit, I didn't.
Yeah, they
Because
said it.
here's the thing. For me, personally, like, you know, my first Zelda was Ocarina of Time, and you've heard me talk about Ocarina. I'm not actually that into it. But when I went back and played the original Zelda, I was just like, this is a really, really open-ended game for its time. Like, this is like the first open-world game I've ever seen for how old it is. Because it doesn't tell you where to go. Like, you don't even have to go get your fucking sword. Like, you walk into the first cave that's available to you, and it's like, hey, here's your sword, but you don't even have to go fucking in there, right? So like, and it doesn't handhold you. You're free to explore the world and figure out, oh shit, that whipped my ass. I better do this in a different order. And I've had my fingers crossed for a while that they were gonna try to recreate that. And as soon as I saw this open world Zelda, I was just like, oh man, this is looking a lot like what I want.
Yeah, see, the only problem with it that I think even the creator said on stage, he was just like, if you do this out of order, you won't get all the lore. He's like, you won't find all the story, and some people may not find all the story. And I'm just like, that kind of sucks.
Well, to me, that encourages replayability, right? Like, you could play one time just playing. Just like, I'm just going to discover shit. I'm just going to roll with it and see what happens, and if I beat the game like that, then beat the game. But your second playthrough, you can go, okay, now I know how to beat the game, and I can back off of that and just try to find shit. Like, that to me sounds fun as hell.
Yeah, that's a good example to bring up the original Zelda and how you can kind of just, it's open-endedness, comparing it to this one. That's really interesting that if I want to, I can go straight to the main bad guy right from the start of the game. And I'll probably just try that at some point just to see what happens. But, yeah, I agree with you that it offers replayability. Because, I mean, especially if this game's anywhere near as likable as, like, Twilight Princess or even Ocarina or something like that, we're gonna play through it a few times, throughout the course of our life. So it would be interesting to go back, especially if there's some kind of, like, New Game Plus that you can choose from. I don't know for sure there will be, but I can see where that could be beneficial, where you can use the same game and just go find all this stuff and whatever.
Yeah, maybe so.
I know, like, one of the people that was at E3 with us, he was talking about his experience with the game, and he said he encountered this huge rock monster at some point. Because the demo was kind of an exploration demo. There was a couple of places on the map they wanted you to go to so you could see the cinematic, but more or less it was just letting you kind of get a feel of Hyrule and the controls and everything. And he encountered like this rock monster, and he's just sitting there just shooting it with arrows. And when you're doing the demo, there's like this demo tech standing behind you. And they if you kind of get sidetracked or off the beaten path, they'll kind of tell you like where you need to go so you can really get the most out of the demo. So he's sitting there fighting this rock monster, right? And he said the tech, or the demo guy, tapped on their shoulder and was like, "Hey, you should probably run away." And he's like, "No, I've been playing Zelda for 20 years. I've got this. Just let me handle it." And he says he's sitting there shooting with arrows. It's not phasing it, and it hits him one time and takes him down to like half a heart. And he's like, "Yeah, I should probably run." So he's running. And he's like full sprint running, and he feels like he's safe, and he gets far enough away, and out of nowhere, this boulder just drops on him and kills him. So this rock monster picked up this boulder and just threw it at him from a distance and killed him. And I thought that was kind of neat. Like, they don't just necessarily just give up. They're like, no, you're fucking gonna die. You're gonna pick on me. You're dead. So there's little things like that. Like, before Zelda games, with the exception of like the first one you pointed out, are pretty linear. You kind of have a set path to go in. The things you encounter are kind of set to be what you fought for that stage of the game. No, in this one, you can just get your ass whipped in the field. Not a chance in hell. The only other example that pops in mind is those weird-ass helicopter flowers from Ocarina.
Yeah.
I don't know what the fuck those things were about, but I never killed one.
Dirty motherfuckers. I couldn't stand them.
Yeah. But all in all, I'm sure there's more I could say about Zelda. It's just nothing's coming to mind now. I think I've got all the main points out. At first, when I saw the trailer, you guys might have saw the same scene I did. I know Ian did because we've already talked about it. It shows like the castle, the demonic castle, and it shows like this thing kind of flying around it, and which is going to be the big bad, because as it shows that, the female is talking to you and talking about how this evil is fixing to come to full power if you don't do something about it. And Ian, didn't you tell me it's been more or less confirmed as some form of Ganon?
Yeah, like I saw someone somewhere say that it's like Demon Ganon or something like that. Like it's like a form sounding name.
Yeah, and I mean, obviously, I assumed it was probably Ganon, but based off like the animation and the model that was flying around, part of me kind of held out hope. I was like, "Is that Volvagia?
Yeah.
Could this? That would be awesome."
I would have been down for that. Because, like,
Yeah.
in my mind, don't get me wrong, I feel like some tropes of Zelda should probably be maintained, but the enemy doesn't have to be Ganon every time. Like, I would have been tickled shitless if that had been Volvagia.
Yeah, like the only main Zelda game that Ganon isn't the main bad guy in was Skyward Sword, and they're like, but he's the descendant of this guy.
Yeah.
Well, I don't think he was in Zelda 2 either, except for the game over screen.
Yep, Ganon Returns or whatever the fuck.
It was like Game Over, Return of Ganon, and it just showed like a silhouette of him.
Like how better to make you just feel like a complete shit.
But yeah, I mean, I completely agree with that. Like, I love Ganon as far as a Majora's Mask too. Was Ganon didn't have nothing to do with that, did he?
No, I had nothing to do with that.
Yeah, good point. Chat Fatouche just pointed that out, so that's a good one. But yeah, I agree. I love Ganon as a main villain, but he doesn't have to be the villain for everyone. I started to get it my first time playing through A Link to the Past. I started to get pretty pumped because I felt like it was going to be Ananim or whatever his name was, the wizard.
Mm-hmm.
And
Aghanim or whatever.
Aghanim, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
And then you find out he's only like the halfway point. He's kind of like the Maleficent from Kingdom Hearts of Zelda.
Well, same with Twilight Princess, because I actually really liked Zant, and then you find out Zant's just spoilers for Twilight Princess. Zant's just a titty baby puppet, and then Ganon is the baddest motherfucker ever in that game. It's so cool.
Mm-hmm.
I actually really like Ganon for the main bad guy each time because I mean that's just their lore. So like I like it.
We get the same hero basically every time. So I guess
I'm looking at a GIF right now of that final scene of the trailer where the thing is flying around the castle, and it's Ganon.
Oh
like,
yeah.
You can zoom, like if you look at his face and everything, he's got the horns and shit. Like it looks like just pig Ganon from like Ocarina.
Well, that's
but,
neat.
like,
At
in a
least they're
demon
mixing
form.
it up. You know,
Yeah.
like, that's still cool.
Yeah. Either way, yeah, Breath of the Wild just blew me away. I was super impressed with it. So both games that I said I had to play, both Bloodstained and Zelda, just did not let me down. And I mean, I'm so excited for Zelda. I'll put it this way: I don't own a Wii U, but my plan is to get an NX so I can play the next Zelda.
Yeah.
Honestly,
I'll be getting one too. I'm incredibly hyped for this game, and I'm ready to climb that goddamn mountain right there.
Mm-hmm.
Get on top of that motherfucker and piss into the wind.
I mean, the possibilities are endless. There's so much just possible, like just exploration and stuff. I'm so excited. But let's move on to other games because there's plenty of other games to talk about from E3. I'm gonna give you guys a chance. What was another game besides those two, or Zelda for that matter, that you were excited about from E3? Just any game, we'll talk about it.
Yeah, I'm gonna take the floor real quick, and I'm gonna bring up God of War.
Hey.
God of War. Let's talk about God of War then. Who?
Fucking God of War, man. It looks hella good.
And I'll put it this way, because you guys play God of War, right? I know, like Chase, you've played. Jesse, I'm pretty sure you played. Ian,
I've actually never played it, and this may be my jumping on point.
Okay, well, Jesse, you and I are going to be kind of in a similar boat then, because I've only played and beaten the first one, so I'm not too far ahead of you.
Yeah.
Which looks like that's not an issue. Like that's what I was telling you, Rat, the other day when we were talking about it. This one looks like, even though it is a sequel to God of War 3, it looks like it's years later, and it looks like it is its own story.
It's like a fresh new start for Kratos and everything.
Pretty much. So
I
it
do
looks
hope
like
there's some throwbacks though.
Oh, and I'm sure there will be. Like one of the things I got super excited about doing the trailer was if you look really closely when he first walks up in the trailer, you can see the scar on his stomach from the sword.
Yeah, he also burns
Chase
the
point that
tanks.
out. Yeah,
Yeah.
I saw you guys point that out before.
Mhm.
Which obviously, if I'm not familiar enough with the story to know exactly what that's about, but just the fact I know that they're there based off the events of the previous games, so that's awesome.
Yeah.
Let's talk about the Norse.
Yeah, this is like
That's
fucking Viking lore.
Yeah, and I love that. That's honestly what's kind of pulling me in, because I love like Greek mythology, don't get me wrong, but that's been the central theme of all the games and its spin-offs up to this point, right?
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
I know
So-
the theory years ago was that now that he had killed off all the Greek and Roman gods, that he was going to move on to like Egyptian gods, and that never happened. And so, like, when this opened up, I was like, I have no idea what this shit is. But as it became clear, I was just like, fucking Viking shit, holy dick! Like, I didn't really...
Yeah, they're gonna have dragons, and like he even calls the Draugr, and I thought that was badass. Like those are just like fucking Norse zombies. Like it's awesome. Like,
And let's talk about the two additions for Kratos. For one, he has a beard,
Hell
which
yeah.
makes him look fucking badass, in my
it
opinion.
does look badass.
And for two, he has what I don't know if it's been necessarily if I've seen it confirmed, but it appears to be a son.
Yeah.
He calls him father.
He does call him father. Okay, gotcha. Yeah, so he has a son. We don't know. I don't know nothing about that. I don't know if there's anything in the previous games that
There's
could
not.
allude.
This is new.
Okay,
Yeah.
so
I don't
that's
think it's his son.
Maybe
I
like
think
an
it's-
adopted or
Yeah,
something.
I think he adopted him or found him or whatever.
Well,
either way. There's a lot of mystery surrounding this child.
One of the developers in an interview did state that this is years later and Kratos has started a new family. I don't know if that means he had a son or, like you said, maybe he joined a family, but started a new
that's-
family makes me think it's a new son.
Yeah, that's weird to me because he was all of this was practically because of his other family, you know?
Yeah.
So, like,
Well,
it's just weird for him to just be like, I'm going to move on and make another family.
Well, he better goddamn move on. He murdered everybody in the last.
There's literally nothing else he can dwell on at this point.
Revenge has been given. Like, it's been dished out at this point.
Well, apparently he's not done.
Well, here's the thing. Here's exactly what I think is going to happen, right? I think that it is his biological son, or at least somebody that he cares about as a son. Because I feel like what his motivation is going to be for this new series of games is, I can't lose another fucking family. Like, I think that's probably going to be it. Like, either this kid's going to get kidnapped or, like, threatened in some way, and he's going to be like, listen, I stayed back, I let new gods show up and take over, and I didn't fuck with y'all, but now you're stepping. It's just like
it kind of implies the mother is already dead, too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it does kind of imply that.
Mm-hmm. I love
that the knife was his mother's and it's his now.
Yeah, exactly.
That's
I
true.
didn't think
Forgot about that point. I love the just his fatherly approach he takes, because in the trailer, it's basically like he's taking his son out to hunt deer, which in turn ends up turning into this whole big clusterfuck of a thing. But he's hard on the son, on the boy, but at the same time, chill about it. You know, like like at the very end of the trailer when the kids finally struck down the deer, and Kratos is telling them to basically give him the killing blow with the knife to the neck, and the kid starts to do it, and he's just like, I can't. And Kratos just very gently just takes his hand and just kind of guides him in and does it. Like, he's not like, you little shit, fucking stab that thing in the neck. He's just kind of like, it's okay, you're of warrior descent, you got this, and just kind of.
And
but
another thing,
his hand, though.
another little thing that happened right after that too, that I thought was kind of indicative of like Kratos' personality going into this game, was right after that scene happens, it's obvious that his son's extremely distraught, and if you notice, Kratos starts to like reach a hand out to like pat his son on the back, just be like, it's okay, but then like takes his hand back, like this is weird, like you can kind of tell like there's a. I've done this before, and I don't. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's really.
It was uncomfortable for him. It really was.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I like how he's trying to shoot the thing and he accidentally shoots him.
Yeah, that's what I was kind of going back to what Rhett was saying. Like, like he got shot in the shoulder by his son. Thinking about Kratos from like the previous games, you would assume that he'd go punt his son off the fucking mountain, but
like I still feel like he's gonna be a hard ass on him, because he kind of was in the trailer at some points. But, like, he shoots him, and I just want him to be like, fucking really?
Yeah.
Are you that bad of a hunter, son? We got to work on this.
I feel like one of the biggest concerns that we might have for this, though, is the gameplay feels different, doesn't it?
It's very Tomb Raider.
Yeah.
Like behind, like, that third person, behind the back, like, adventure game. So it's definitely a different take on gameplay.
Yeah, I'm really hoping that's just an opening level thing. Because if it's not like hack and slash crazy combat, it's not God of War for me.
Yeah. But at the same time, I wouldn't be surprised if that's what happens, because it's not called God of War Vikings Must Die. It's just called God of War again. So to me, it's just like we're starting fresh. Things might be different. Like I feel like
Go ahead, Red.
I was gonna say, I personally dislike that though, when a sequel just does just the title, like without any kind of subtitle or numeric entry.
Dude, that's fucking marketing, and I'm getting sick of it. But like, that's just a thing, is that a lot of people are realizing this game's not going to sell unless we name it this thing. And I'm sure the creative department is like, but that doesn't make any goddamn sense. And it's like, well, tough titties. That's what we're doing.
Well, it's kind of like what we were saying earlier. This game, in my opinion, symbolizes a new start for Kratos, a new beginning. And that's one of the reasons why it's just the God of War again, because this is a new standalone story. Like, it's going to draw inspiration and things from the previous game, but it's going to have its own thing going in. And the only way you can differentiate this one between the original God of War as far as the titles go is this one's got Norse, like, stuff on the letters, whereas the original one had Greek letters.
But I'm just saying, like, if it's a reboot, I have no problem with it. But when it's a sequel, it just bugs me when they don't do something to kind of set the title apart from a previous entry.
Well, here's what I would have done, right? But it doesn't always work. Like naming it God of War is confusing because now you have two games called God of War in a continuous series that's the same story. So I probably would have found a way to make a similar title that is distinct and relevant to the story, like Gods of War, or like Son of War.
I was just thinking Son of War in my head.
I would have just called it God of War 5 or 4, whatever the fuck.
5,
it's now.
just like God of War 5,
4.
and the subtitle is We Skipped 4.
Well, there's like real weird spin-offs. I didn't know if one of those was 4 yet.
God of War 5, 4
called
was way too bloody.
They could have just simply called it God. Then,
Just
like,
called it War God.
I'll piss with y'all in if they just called it GOW.
Real pissed.
next gen sequel. But so yeah, I mean, I'll say this much. Like I said, I'm really behind on the series, but the trailer for God of War was enough to be like, I'm gonna give that another shot. I'm gonna try that out when I get a chance to, because that looks pretty awesome.
Okay, did anyone watch the press conference?
I didn't get a chance to watch any of it live this time.
I watched all of Sony.
I
Okay,
watched the replay.
All right, Ian.
I didn't see any of it live.
Ian, how about that weird fucking intro before they showed God of War?
Oh, the whole orchestra.
Yeah, with that woman being like, ooh.
Dude, that's one of the things. Like first off, I actually thought it was fucking awesome,
It
and
was
that's one of the
fucking
things.
awesome.
That's one of the things that immediately made me know it was going to be God of War. Like it sounded like God of War.
Yeah, I was with chat and everybody else. I was like, what the fuck is going on? They're trying to summon Satan right now. And
But
then
no,
it
I was
shoots
like,
God
I
of
was
War.
like, I was like, this sounds like, because I was watching it with a few friends of mine, and I was like, this sounds like God of War. And then as soon as we heard Kratos talk, I was like, yep, it's God of War. And then he came out. But I will say this, one of my favorite things about the Sony press conference, it has shit to do with their games, but the fact that they had a live orchestra doing all the music throughout their entire press conference was fucking cool.
Yeah, it really
Yeah.
was. Like, I couldn't tell if it was gonna be like a trailer for that new Skyrim remaster or not. And then,
Yeah.
sure enough, it's God of War.
But all right. Well, moving on to other games. One game I'll kind of want to touch on for a minute. If you guys have something you want to add to the discussion of it, feel free to. But Injustice 2,
Yeah.
which listening to the previous podcast you guys did without me, you guys talked a little bit about Injustice 2, and let me go ahead and tell you that everything you thought was going to happen with it was pretty much dead on. Jesse, I remember in that episode you were talking about how it seemed like every fight changed you and you got gear and stuff that would upgrade your character and all this different stuff. That's all accurate. That's
Okay.
true. It looks really good. It's kind of an expanded roster. Atrocitus, by the way, guys, is what the Red Lantern's name is.
Oh,
Yeah, fuck off. I know that now.
But Chase, you brought up a good point in that last episode. Was are you going to be able to transmog or anything like change your look? They didn't clarify that during the little presentation they showed us at E3. Now I will say this: they showed like a level 1 beginner look for like Batman and who was Batman fighting in the demo? He was fighting Gorilla Grodd. They showed like a level 1 version of both of them. They just look normal as fuck based off what we expect them. And then they showed like their maxed out, just geared out versions. And yeah, some of it's a little over the top, but they look fucking badass. And the guy did mention it. He did play it off saying that there's going to be so many options for each character that you won't see the same character twice, more than likely. Like if you're playing online or whatever, everyone's going to have their own unique version of that character. And I hope that's as true as he made it sound, because he made it sound like it's just so many options, like hundreds of options for each character, that you're going to be able to customize it to however you want. And of course, each gear has different stats and all this.
I was about to say the only way I'll believe that is if that gear does not have stats attached to it. With him saying, "Oh, you'll never see the same character twice." Bullshit.
No.
Someone's gonna find out the best gear, and that's what everyone's gonna have.
Yeah, like, but the thing is, though, like, from what I was reading, or what I was watching and stuff, things have like prices to them. Like, yeah, you'll add this glove that makes your strength way fucking badass, but it also makes you way slower. And it's tailored to be fit for people's game styles. Like if you're more used to like a faster character, then use all the fast stuff. If you're more used to like a balanced character, then balance it out and stuff like that. And I'm really excited about it. I'm really excited about the gear and stuff like that. Cause, because there's gonna be gear that's strictly stats and stuff like that, and there's gear that's just strictly cosmetic. Like in one of the trailers they showed us, there was they had a Supergirl that had a special cape on that changed all of her eye lasers to be purple, and that was that was even in her ultimate ability. They were purple and everything, and I thought that was really cool. Like I hate purple, but that was cool, you know.
Well, that immediately reminds me of the game balance of a Call of Duty game. Because like that's part of why I was able to get into the Call of Duty games whenever I first started playing Modern Warfare, was that the perks allowed me to make up for my personal weaknesses.
Yeah.
So like that's kind of how that sounds to me. The way it's being described is just like, well, I'm shit at doing this, so I'm gonna use this.
And I think move stats are going to be customizable too. Don't quote me on that. I think I remember him saying that they're going to be.
Some of the gear will change moves.
Yeah. So that's also interesting.
Well, see that like Fartouche just said in chat, he said, you know, but there'll be a best build for certain characters anyways, and even though it complements the game style, you're gonna see the same. It'll break it down into the three that Ian said. You'll see the same three types for every character. I feel like you'll see the fast gear, the balanced gear, and the heavy gear.
Yeah,
that's all you're ever gonna see.
If there's as much gear as what the presenter made it sound like there's going to be, then I wouldn't have any problem believing that there's going to be several versions of like the same gear. Like let's say like a chess piece or something. There'll probably be several chess pieces that look completely different from one another, but basically have the same stats. So you can still keep the same build, but have a different look, maybe.
Yeah,
because they were really pushing. I was gonna say they were really pushing because the tagline is "Every battle defines you" or something. He was really pushing that. He's like, when we say every fight defines you, we mean every fight defines you. And like win or lose, you're gonna unlock gear for your character.
Yeah.
So,
and that's something interesting to me as well, because like I feel like I feel like he means it when he says that kind of stuff. Because like in one of the interviews I was watching with Ed Boon, he was talking about how the first Injustice had like 10,000 different quotes that people could say to each other, like personalized quotes that like certain superheroes would say to the others. And he said that this one had over like hundreds of thousands of quotes that people could say to each other. And I'm like, that's a fuck ton of content.
And I have no problem believing that, because like one of the demo fights they showed us Batman versus Gorilla Grodd, then they showed us Superman versus Atrocitus. And like Batman and Gorilla Grodd don't really have a whole lot of history with one another as far as I can remember. But they had special dialogue, because when the fight starts, Grodd walks up and he's like, "I can't read your thoughts." And Batman says, "Telepathic inhibitor, so don't even bother." And Grodd's like, "Well, I guess I'll just eat your head then." And so it's like, oh, that's awesome. They actually talk to each other, you know, because you wouldn't normally. It makes sense if like Sub-Zero and Scorpion talk to each other. But Batman and Gorilla Grodd, that's pretty cool, you know? So, yeah, that's true. Also, the specials in this game are ridiculous. Y'all saw Batman's special, right?
I actually haven't seen it yet.
Okay,
it's way better than his last one.
Yeah, you know, in the last one, he basically like just summoned the Batmobile and it kind of ran you over. That was pretty much it. Okay, in this one, he hooks you up to a balloon, and the next scene is the enemy character just kind of floating in the air, and then the Batwing comes and grabs him, and kind of like the way it like maneuvers is that the enemies kind of fall into the ground while the Batwing does like a U-turn, and it just follows him down to the ground and just shoots like bullets at him and shit, and just knocks him to the ground. It's really just over the top. But he admitted that. He's like, "Guys, we're NetherRealm Studios. We wouldn't be NetherRealm Studios unless we were a little over the top, right?" And everyone's like, "Yeah." And he's like, "Watch this." And then he shows us Batman's fucking special with the Batwing and everything. And it was actually kind of funny, because when it shows the enemy character just sort of floating in the air with a balloon, there's kind of like a small moment of silence where he's just floating, and everyone's like, "Oh, something's happening." And then here comes the Batwing. So it was pretty awesome.
That's funny.
Yeah. So yeah, Injustice looks great. Gameplay wise, it looked more or less the same as the previous game, which I thought's fine, because Injustice in general is one of the better fighting games I've played in recent years. So. It just has a lot of extra features and content to it. And I'm real excited to see what that full roster is going to look like.
One thing I thought was really badass is such a small thing, but Atrocitus's special ability, his like a little summon ability, was the fucking Deck Star. It was the cat lantern. He just starts flying next to him and shoots lasers at the opponent.
Yeah, that was actually pretty awesome.
It's funny that you say that because as you were explaining, I was actually browsing through pictures of Atrocitus, and I just happened across one of Dexstar and Atrocitus. So now I get to put that up for during this discussion. I'm tickled shitless that fucking Dexstar's in this game in some way.
Yep, makes a little cameo with Atrocitus. It's pretty awesome, and it showed Atrocitus like one of his final maxed out gear forms. Dude, he looks like Satan. He goes from looking like just this rock hard, but this just monster Red Lantern to just straight up the Lord of Hell. It's ridiculous. So it's I'm super pumped. It looks really good. I mean, I applauded at the end of the presentation because I'm like, that looks fun as fuck. I can't wait to try that out. And it looks like it has like a lot more playability to it than the previous game did, because the previous game was basically just a fighter. You play through the campaign, play against your friends, and you're done. And overall, I didn't have much interest in playing online. This game, I'm like, I'm going to like upgrade Green Arrow and make him look fucking retarded.
So, get Mega Green Arrow X going.
Yeah, Mega Green Arrow X is going to make his return in Injustice 2. You guys, mark my words, you heard it here first. But yeah, I mean, between the last episode and this episode, not more can be said. Ian, you sound like you have something you want to say real fast.
I was going to say one last thing I've got about it is just what the story is for this one. Because, it's obvious to me that Superman somehow breaks out of his encapturement from the last game, and I'm just really confused about what's going to happen and why some of these heroes are still alive when they clearly died.
Yeah, and like my only gripe about it is that it showed Aquaman, and I swear I think he looks like Kevin Bacon. Like his face looks like, awesome. Especially from like the side, looks like Kevin Bacon. So I'm just like, whatever. But no, so Injustice 2 looks really fun. I'm really pumped to play it. I know Ian's really pumped to play it, and maybe we can get Jesse and Chase on board to play it.
Dude,
don't you say what I'm happy about and what I'm not happy about.
Dude, I own you.
That's true.
Okay. Man, Fat Chance getting me to play it. I'm terrible at those games, but I am excited for them regardless because they do look fun.
You might do some couch co-op with us or something. Just if one of us has it and you're visiting.
Yeah,
probably.
I'd play it, but I won't buy it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because I didn't buy the first one.
Fair enough. All right, so moving on from Injustice 2, I feel like another game we can talk about real fast. If you guys have anything you want to talk about with it, is Final Fantasy 15. They showed off. I mean, they announced it last year. Well, they announced it fucking 10 years ago, but they showed off more of it last year. And this year they had a playable demo of basically Noctis fighting a Titan. So up until now, I haven't really had a chance to play much Final Fantasy 15. I didn't get the demo that came with Top Zero. I played the Platinum demo, but that was just more or less like a technical thing.
And it sucked.
I mean, it showed off what the game's capable of. But that's really it. This is really the first like gameplay demo I've had a chance to play, and I thought it was great. The fighting in it's actually, once you kind of get used to it, is really fluent and smooth, and it's fun. Especially like with his warp ability and everything. The only problem I had with it is when you're fighting an enemy that big, occasionally it would knock me down to the ground, and whenever like something that big knocks you to the ground, your camera gets a little disoriented, and it's kind of hard to see what's going on, because there was a little bit of an issue with like his arm clipping into the camera and some stuff like that. The Titan's arm.
Yeah,
so,
I could see that being a problem.
Yeah, that was really the only issue. Other than that, I mean, it was that. Like I said, all the demo was just you fighting the Titan, but it was fun. I mean, I was already kind of pumped about Final Fantasy 15, and this is the first time I've had a chance to really just play it, and I came away impressed. The soundtrack, like as soon as the demo starts off and I hear that soundtrack kick in, the soundtrack alone was enough for me to be like, I'm sold. Let me, I'm buying this when it comes out. The soundtrack's great. The fighting was great. Controls were fine. I played the PS4 version of it. And controls, pretty easy to pick up on and get used to. Swapping out between weapons, different stuff like that. So yeah, it plays great. I'm just as excited about it now as I ever was. So
I'll be honest, man. I was sold on Final Fantasy 15 when that first demo came out, where you fight the behemoth at the end of it.
Yeah, the Top Zero demo was excellent.
I was pretty sold on it at that point, and one of the main reasons why like was just kind of like kind of the scale of the game. Like when you do fight Behemoth and you summon Ramu and everything like that, dude. Like the clouds just fucking darken and lightning starts striking, and then there's Ramu and he fucking does his lightning and everything, and then Prompto, like in the distance, you hear him just like kind of quietly go, "This is why they say it. This is why the legends are true." And I'm just like, "Holy fuck, that was awesome!" Like. It was really cool, and this demo, like what I've seen of it from this new E3, man, it just looks so good. I mean, but it better fucking be. Let's be honest here. 10 years, 10 years we've waited in Azkaban.
I mean, I guess technically I was sold on it whenever I pre-ordered 13 Verses, in like 2007. I mean, because if you remember, when our local movie gallery was open and they started doing pre-orders. 13 Verses was one of the options you could pre-order along with 13, and I had 13 Verses pre-ordered. And of course, whenever
I did too.
And of course, when the company went out of business, they
have fun cashing that fucking pre-order.
Now I'm pretty sure they refund me the money that I put.
I think I moved it over to something else.
Maybe so, but yeah, I mean, I was more excited for 13 Verses than I ever was 13 before 13 came out, and so far that's proven to be like a good call.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, I mean, it looks great and it plays great, and there's not really a whole lot of new that we can talk about with it because it's been getting stuff announced, shown off for over the course of a year, as far as this particular version of the game. But it looked great last year and it played great this year, so that's all I can say. It is
really interesting seeing some of the like early trailers of the game back when it was still 13 Verses compared to some of the newer trailers and seeing some of the things they've changed and stuff like that. It's really neat. But like the core game has pretty much stayed the same. It appears like Noctis still looks the same, and he still has like the same powers with his invisible swords. And
I don't know, this weird ass sword that I've got up on stream looks different. It looks like a goddamn engine block with another sword on top of the end of the sword.
But I think he just summons that one. Like that's his thing. Like he just summons weapons. I think that's so cool. Like,
I'll say this much: we were talking about how long this game took to come out. It ought to come with a fucking playable demo of Half-Life 3.
Well, one more thing I want to say about this, and it kind of pissed me off. I mean, it's kind of interesting, but it kind of pissed me off is when they were like, "Hey, check out Final Fantasy 15. It's real cool. Oh, and check out this new VR thing we've got where you can play as Prompto." And I'm like, guys, if y'all didn't fucking worry about VR shit, this game could have came out a year ago.
I heard. I didn't do the VR. Matter of fact, I'll talk about VR in a little bit. I didn't do the VR for Final Fantasy 15, but I heard it was garbage.
Really?
Yeah, like
I bet. Well, that's the thing. They just randomly announced it with all the other VR. I bet they just heard VR was going to be at E3, and they're like, "Shit, we don't have VR."
Let's let Prompto shoot some stuff.
Yeah, I heard it was bad. So I heard the demo to play was the actual console demo, and that's the one I tried. So I was happy with that decision. Since we're talking about VR, let's go ahead and just talk about that real fast. I'm going to go ahead and preface this by saying that the VR games I wanted to play, I did not get a chance to, specifically like Farpoint, and I did want to try out the Batman Arkham VR just because it's Batman. I heard really good things about Farpoint. I think I heard shitty things about Batman. The only VR anything I did all week long was VR porn. And I'm not even kidding, because Nadia. Okay, it was towards the end of like the first day, and I was walking around one of the halls, and just trying to because they had kind of a dealer's room looking thing back in the corner. At least I saw one guy with a booth that was selling a whole bunch of stuff. So I was like, I'm gonna go check that out before I leave. So I walk back there and I'm walking around. There's a crowd of people around this one booth. I walk up and it's Naughty America. Okay. So I'm like, oh, what's happening here? And I see VR porn. I was like, oh, that looks interesting.
That's not what you said. You said, let me at the front of that fucking line.
No. That's honestly not what I said. I first walked up out of curiosity. I'm like, let me kind of see what people are saying about this. Next thing I know, I'm like, I'm second in line, so I guess I'm doing this. So, and I tried out VR porn, and what's funny is I immediately, like when I got done with it, I texted my wife, and I was like, so I just did VR porn. And she's like, are you on Pornhub? And I was like, I didn't film nothing. I just tried VR porn. So, it's basically just first person porn where you can look around. That's basically what it was. And like, you can look down and see like the guy that you're portrayed to be. And I'll be like, fuck, I'm ripped. You know, like, man, that's a nice, nice six pack I get going on there. But no, that's the only VR I did all week. It kind of ended up being a joke because the guys I was with, we'd wake up and be like, well, what games you going to try out today? And everyone's like, Zelda. And whatever. I'm like, I'm going to go check out some more of that VR porn.
Well, yeah, let's. I guess let's quickly talk about some of the VR games that we're excited about, though. I don't know if any of y'all are. I don't know if VR is anything that like intrigues y'all, but like,
I ought to
fucking
be, but,
Battlefront.
Really?
I'm really excited about that new Battlefront. Like, you're fucking piloting an X-wing. Like,
yeah, that was kind of cool. I only saw like a little bit of that though.
Yeah,
So,
like I'm actually out of the loop on VR, which is surprising because I'm actually really wanting to get a Vive whenever I do my my PC upgrade and start digging into that shit. But that's gonna be a couple $1,000s away. So
Yeah,
like,
like-
I haven't actually kept up with a lot of this news.
literally, the only two I'm really, really excited about were the Battlefront one and Resident Evil 7. Because can you fucking imagine Resident Evil 7 in first person? Like,
Oh my god, they had the Resident Evil 7 VR demo at E3, and I don't do horror to begin with, and I was like, fuck no. Like, I am not. Like, I've played the Resident Evil 7 demo that's on the PS4 now. Like, I have it downloaded and I've played it a few times and watched a lot of video, and it really intrigues me. But like, I'm the kind of guy, the first time I played through the demo, since it's first person view, I spent most of the time looking at the ground because I was too worried something was going to pop out and shit. There's no way I can do VR Resident Evil.
Y'all don't understand. That is a chicken shit when it comes to that kind of thing.
Oh my god. The fact that I even tried this demo out at all is saying a lot because I do not do horror. I'm a huge just pussy. Let's just be real here when it comes to horror themed stuff. So, but I do, not trying to get away from the VR, we can go back to that, but in terms of Resident Evil, I did actually enjoy that demo, and it's very intriguing. I've watched like several YouTube videos.
Oh,
about
it
all
looks
the
hella
sequels and
good.
stuff. Mm-hmm.
I still
Like,
need
it
to
was
play
so
it.
good. Like, it was so weird watching that trailer because me and my friends had no idea what it was. We had no clue, and then at the end, when it was like Resident Evil 7, I was like, "The fuck, really?" Like, it looks
It's
good.
straight up back to its horror roots. Like, I mean, I cannot play that demo. I can now because I know what to expect. The first time I played it, I'm like, oh my god! Like, you're just walking through this creepy ass house and it's all dark and shit, and you just hear stuff getting moved in the other room when you're supposed to be by yourself. Shit like that, I'm just like, oh, I can't. Look at the ground. Look at the ground. I just can't fucking do this.
But
So
that
it
makes
saves
me
you playing
wonder. That makes me wonder. How is this a sequel? Like, how is this a continuation and not a reboot? Because the last canonic thing we did was toss a tentacled man into a volcano. I am excited for returning to the horror roots, but I am curious if it's still going to be into the same continuity or if that's going to matter.
The only thing, and I guess it's before we get into Resident Evil, does anybody have anything else VR they want to talk about? Because I got some things about Resident Evil I want to discuss.
Nah,
I don't.
Yeah, that's all I really know.
It's too early to tell. Basically, for VR, it's just too early in its life to really know anything about it. Right now, I'm not too excited about it, but that might change in the future. Might get some VR porn. I don't know. I haven't decided yet.
You've decided.
I've decided. I've got it. I got my Google Cardboard on its way, and I'm gonna just, you'll never see me again. But okay, as far as Resident Evil 7 is concerned, there's a few theories behind the story with it. First of all, it has to do with the family. That's like the quote unquote capital T, capital F, the family. You know, it's evidently like this family that went crazy in this house and killed people and shit. So,
Okay.
but as far as throwbacks to this series, when I first played the demo, I was like, there's not really anything in this that screams Resident Evil. You know, because there's no zombies or nothing in the actual demo. There's a camera. You get to see like a camera feed, and it looks like there's like a zombie or something that attacks at the end of it. But other than that, there wasn't really anything else. It's just like, this just kind of feels more like Silent Hill-ish or PT kind of than it did Resident Evil. After playing it and watching some videos and stuff, and going back and playing it again, there's a upstairs, a third floor you can access if you know how to do it. And once you go up there, there's a landline phone, and there's a picture next to it. If you look at the picture, the back of it says, "Are they watching us from that helicopter?" And we look at the front; it's a picture of the helicopter with the Umbrella Corporation symbol on the side. And then the phone is ringing the whole time, and if you answer it, there's this female that says some weird shit to you. She'll be like, "I know who you are," and your guy's like, "Who are you?" And she'll say something like, "You have to eventually say goodbye, but will you be ready?" Or something. There's three different things you can say. The most popular theory I've seen so far is that a lot of people think that's Ada Wong. Is that her name?
Ada Wong.
Yeah, a lot of people think it's her. I don't really know why, but I've seen a lot of people theorize that that's who that is. That's the only two things. The Umbrella picture, obviously, for sure, and then maybe Ada on the phone is the only two things I've seen that's like a full reference to the Resident Evil. Something that stands out that I haven't seen in Resident Evil before, because Resident Evil is mostly about like zombies and monsters. Not so much paranormal, but zombies and monsters, right?
Yeah, essentially, you're right. It's more scientifically oriented than it is paranormal.
There's two sections to the demo. There's one where you're playing as the present-day character, and at one point you access this videotape, and if you watch it, you actually play through the video recording. And the video recording is of the cameraman who you're playing as, and these two guys that look like they're hosting like a horror show, like a haunted house show or something, and you're walking through the house with them. At 7 different times, you can spot a ghost girl. There's a girl, a ghost of a girl that shows up in like 7 different locations if you look there at the appropriate time. So there's ghosts in the VHS portion, and that's kind of weird. That's kind of new for Resident Evil, in my opinion, because I don't remember like ghosts or anything being like a part of it. Just more or less zombies and scientific creations and shit like that. Outbreaks.
Yeah,
but not ghosts. So that's interesting. Other than that, I don't know. I don't know what the fuck this game's about or any other callback to the series. It looks fun. It looks interesting, and I enjoyed the demo so far. And especially because there's a few things about the demo that keep people guessing. There's a couple of items you can find that no one has yet figured out what you can do with them in the demo, if you can do anything at all. It could just be Konami or whoever Capcom. Sorry.
Yeah.
It could be just Capcom's way of just making you keep playing the demo to figure out these pointless items. But no, I mean, there's like a lot of people there's a lot of mystery behind it. It definitely leaves you wanting more. Like you need it because you don't know what the hell's going on. But it's enjoyable overall.
Well, I'll say this: I'm super confused by it. Like I need to go play this demo to learn for myself because I'm among the crowd of people that played PT and was like, "Holy shit, I'm so excited for this! What the fuck? It's not coming out! Yay, Kojima's still gonna make a game with Norman Reedus! What the fuck is this baby?" and I do want to talk about that in a second. But so next thing I hear, like, the last person I expected to try to take up the PT torch is making something PT-like, and it's fucking Resident Evil, and I'm like, that doesn't fit. And then they're like, oh, the game's not going to be like this. And it's just like, well, then what are you doing? So, like,
Yeah.
I'm very confused and almost concerned, but I'm still going to play this demo.
Well, the demo has a kind of a PT feel to it, but it's not near as freaky as what PT is, because PT had a lot of just random shit that would happen, like the fetus and the sink and shit like that. Nothing like that's in this demo. It's more or less, except for the ghost girl that shows up. Other than that, everything else is like realistic shit that could happen, So, except for the fact that it does that creepy ass mannequin thing, because when you go upstairs, there's mannequins and they're facing away from you, and then when you come back downstairs and look at them, they're looking at you. And
they
then,
did that in another game. I forgot what game it was, but I've seen that done before.
I think that was done in
Condemned.
Thank you.
Condemned. Yeah, and like another mannequin can randomly show up depending on what you're doing. Just so there is some freaky shit like that. But there's nothing like just paranormal weird except for those ghost girls that show up in the VHS portion. So I don't know. I'm confused by it, but I am definitely intrigued. So they've got for them to pull someone like me into this, they've done a good job, because I do not do horror, but I will probably try this. So I'll probably Redbox it or something. I don't know if I'll buy it, but I'll try to play it somehow. But
something real neat, real quick. I'm just looking up stuff about it right now, and apparently the song that plays during the trailer is backmasked and shit. Like if you go and like decompile it and stuff like that.
Oh, that's new then.
Yeah,
that's
there's
new,
tons of stuff in it.
I hadn't really looked up anything on it in a few days, and at the time I felt like I looked up everything that had possibly been discovered. There's one instance where there's a lamp in the hallway that kind of flickers, and some people have theorized that it could be Morse code, but no one's like tried to decode it yet.
Yeah.
So I don't know if anything like that's popped up or anything's come from that yet. But
Apparently, there's also QR codes in a mirror that could lead to new secrets and stuff like that too. Like, it looks
That's
like it's
good.
chock full of shit, man.
that's what I love about it. That's what I love about it is, I mean, that's how you do a demo. Fucking put all kinds of just goodies in it. You know, kind of keep people going back to play. Because most demos you're gonna play once, be like done, delete, clear.
Yeah.
No, people are still playing this demo. I get on YouTube trying to find videos of secrets, and I see people live streaming this demo that's been on for like 4 to 5 hours on a demo, trying to figure out secrets behind it. So
Like,
they hit the ball out of the park for a demo, in my opinion.
like I feel you on that. Like, this is how you do a demo, but you also do a demo of what your game is going to be like.
Yeah, like that's
instead
the
of this
thing.
shit.
If the game's not going to be like this, we're getting into some like Division territory, only even worse, right? Like, because you can't build hype for a game you're not going to sell. Like,
Yeah.
which to me indicates it's not a demo, it's a marketing tool. But the general public's not going to understand that, nor are they going to be real happy when they get their game. So I'm curious to see what else we're going to see of this game to frame expectations.
Yeah, I hope they keep it the same way, especially with that first person view. I hope they keep it like that because that's definitely going to add a whole nother level of like horror to the game. Because I mean, anytime first person view, it's definitely scarier than like third person. I don't care who you talk to. That's how I feel about it.
Yeah.
And like they even have an axe you can pick up, and the only thing you can do with it is like swing it. You can't attack. There's nobody to attack or anything like that. And that's another item that people are confused on, thinking there might be some more reason for it to be in the demo. But it does let you show how you attack. So, I mean, it shows you that you can attack from the first person and all that sort of stuff. So, I hope they keep it the same way it is now. And I hope, and the demo ends saying, like, the family expects you in 2017. So, the family is still going to be a thing based off what I'm seeing here. So, hopefully, they'll keep it all this relevant to the main game.
Yeah, I never played Resident Evil 6, but I'm actually looking at something about the family right now, and apparently they're a pretty big part of 6. And yeah, like, that's weird. Like, it seems like it is tying pretty directly into 6. So,
I hope it's better than 6.
Fatouche, our just informational awesome man here, is pointing out some interesting points. I've been referring to this as a demo this entire time. It's really not a demo more than it is a promotional game. It kind of reminds me of, well, I lost my train of thought, but it's called Resident Evil 7 Beginning Hour. So it's it's just kind of like a promotional interactive experience for it, more so than an actual demo of the full game.
And while he is correct, I also still don't see it being that unlikely for people to get a little confused. I guess it will even out as we see more actual gameplay from the game, like the way it is anticipated to be.
But I still, like I said, I still hope it stays in the same vein that it's in now, because it's got me sucked in. I'm interested in it. I'm super interested in all the secrets that's in the promotional game. So I hope it stays that way, because I think it make a fresh and enjoyable experience to the series. You know, so.
Well, I got a question for you guys about E3. How do you feel about literally no Final Fantasy VII remake news whatsoever?
That was weird. You know, since they announced it last year, you would have thought they would have said something about it this year. But no, all it was, hey, 15, and we got Brave Exodus or whatever, and we've got this Final Fantasy 12 tie-in that you can go try out. All that was like playable, but nothing Final Fantasy 7.
Yeah, like I understand if they didn't want it to be a main stage game again, because then people may think, oh, well, they're just fucking milking it now. But like, you could have gave us something. Like, I don't know, maybe a little bit of, maybe a demo, maybe just some gameplay, maybe hey, it might come out in the next 10 years. You know,
If
something.
If BioWare can show me videos of people at computers promising me they're making a video game, then like Square could have done something, I guess.
Square had this huge screen set up in their booth that was showing off trailers and stuff from their upcoming games, and I didn't sit down, like they had it set up to where you could sit down and just watch it if you want to, and I didn't do that. I only saw it whenever I passed by it or if I was in the area. But I never saw anything Final Fantasy VII. Like, at the very least, you think they could show like a Final Fantasy VII trailer in that little just collage of video.
Yeah.
But they didn't. There was nothing there.
Yeah, but literally nothing. I was just blown away. I was like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
Had a playable demo for Kingdom Hearts 2.8 though that I tried out. That was fun.
You know what's funny? Something I do want to mention is I have a list here that's just labeled hype and nope, and Kingdom Hearts 2.8 is in my nope. Like I've got just no interest. Like I hate that because I know a lot of you guys are probably pumped, but it's not really done a whole lot to capture me.
Well, I'm pumped because I never played Dream Drop Distance. I definitely haven't played Fragmentary Passage because that's a whole new thing. Or Unchained. What's the other ones that's a part of it? It's Kingdom Hearts Key something. I'm not sure if it's Unchained Key. I don't think it's Unchained Key, but I think it's something like a spin-off title or something.
It's Kingdom Hearts Key Unchained. That's it's like backlog or something like that.
Yeah, that's right. Like backstory out the gate. I don't know. But I never played Dream Drop Distance. I played it. Well, let me correct myself. I played it very little because I never had a 3DS back when Dream Drop first released, and it's just a game I haven't went back and played since I've had my 3DS. Ian, you had Dream Drop Distance for your 3DS, and I played it just a little bit. It was either yours or Williams. I played a little bit of at Dad's house, and at the time I was like, I'm just not feeling it. Like what little I played, I'm like, I'm not really feeling it. But I tried out the demo for it when I was at E3. And it played fine. Like the console version of it just plays like Kingdom Hearts, but they still have like the flow motion and stuff you can do like you could from Dream Drop Distance. So I enjoyed it, and I thought it'd be, as a Kingdom Hearts fan, and I've never played through it before, that's why I'm interested in it.
Right.
So
I may end up like maybe taking an opportunity to rent it or something like that. And anything that I can say about it are things that I've probably said better in previous podcasts.
Yeah. The only way I'll buy it is if it's less than a full price game. Because
See, I don't really understand that mindset though. I mean, I get it, that's just your prerogative and everything, but like if you're using like Ground Zero as an inspiration, this has a full game in it plus a side story plus another side story.
Yeah, but it's also a full game that I could just play on my 3DS. So
yeah, and like I could never get into 3D on 3DS. That's one of the reasons why I'm excited about this, is that like if I'm playing like a real hardcore Kingdom Hearts game, I really want to play it on console. And that's one of the reasons why I'm excited about this. Is I want to play 3D on console.
yeah, and the frame rate, Ian, you'd probably be happy to hear this. But the frame rate's super smooth. Like for it to transition from the 3DS to next gen console, it plays flawlessly.
yeah,
So
I would much rather have
looks good,
1.5 and 2.5 on
Well, I've already got
PS4.
those.
So on PS4.
Oh, not on PS4, but I've got them on my PS3. So
I'm good on PS4. I don't know what y'all doing.
awesome.
Oh yeah.
Going to jail.
Can we talk about Norman Reedus' Tether Baby, or are we just gonna pretend like that
Let's
didn't happen?
touch on that. Let's touch on that.
I don't
I'm
wanna touch
excited.
it.
I'm excited, and I don't know why the fuck. Like, I don't know. I guess because Kojima is the reason I'm excited.
Yeah.
And then, okay, cool. He got Norman Reedus to be a part of a game. Awesome. You watch the 1.5 minute trailer, and you're like, what the fuck is happening? Like, what is going on right now?
I feel like he called up Reedus again and was just like, now I know I said that last game was going to be the best game of all time.
Well,
But this game...
y'all remember whenever the Phantom Pain was being marketed as its own game, and it didn't have anything to do with Metal Gear Solid, and it was just like a red herring? Do you remember all that?
Mm-hmm.
Well, like... I wouldn't be surprised for a second if he was just like, I'm just kidding, it's PT. I'm not making that game. That looked stupid. You ate that up. Because that's how I feel. I feel like listening to the crowd, here's what happened. Everybody was like, oh shit, it's Kojima. Oh shit, it's Norman Reedus. And everybody's cheering, and then it gets real quiet. And then at the end, they don't know whether or not to clap or not, but they clap anyway because it's Kojima made a game, and I'm gonna buy it. I think if it had been anybody else, people would have been like, "What the fuck was that?"
One of the things that's got me really confused though is like I've got a friend who's like really dead set on the fact that he thinks it could still be PT and shit like that, and I'm just really confused about that. Like, there's no way it could be PT though, because that's Konami and it's Silent Hill. They can't do Silent Hill.
Well, like, there's nothing. Here's the approach I'm looking at it from, is that PT or Silent Hills was already looking like it was going to be a new imagining of the Silent Hill franchise, and if Kojima, Norman Reedus, and is everybody still there, by the way, because it got real quiet?
Yeah, I
Okay.
think Ian muted his mic or something.
I
Okay,
did.
sorry, my bad. Okay, if Kojima, Norman Reedus, and Guillermo del Toro could still work together, which as far as I know, Guillermo del Toro is not on this project, but if they could
He's
still,
not.
yeah, if they could still work together, which nothing's preventing them from doing so, then they could easily make a game that followed the exact same design philosophy as Silent Hills, just with its own original story. So like that's part of why that's what I wanted to see. Like I think a lot of hardcore Kojima fans were also hardcore PT enthusiasts that were just like fingers and toes crossed, hoping that this game was still going to come out in some way. And then we got this trailer and we were like, what the fuck is this?
Yeah, like before the Death Stranding like title came up, I was just waiting and waiting for the title to come up, and it'd be 2 words, any 2 words, whatever the fuck he wanted to name it. But the first word start with a P, and the second word start with a T.
That would have been good, actually.
And then that just fade away and leave PT, and then him just be like, do something about it.
Yeah, that would have been awesome.
Well, one thing, like, kind of the general gist I'm getting from the like trailer and stuff. Like, it's hard to tell anything from this fucking trailer, teaser, whatever. But one of the things I kind of get a somewhat Dead Space vibe from it, almost.
Yeah, I've seen some theories and stuff about the beings like floating in the sky and those like USB looking fucking things around his neck. There's already some crazy theories about it, and I'm excited.
I think Jesse, I think it was you that said the other day, or someone who said that this looks like it's Kojima saying, "Man, I really wanted to take Metal Gear in a really weird direction, but Konami wouldn't let me. So here's what I would have done."
Honestly, yeah. Like, don't get me wrong. I started to say trust and respect Kojima. I don't trust him. Like, I think that he knows that he's basically the Quentin Tarantino of video games, and he's ready to flex his dick a little bit. And now that he's working on its own, here he comes just a swinging, and it's a weird misshapen penis, man. Like this is strange as hell, and everybody's ready to eat it up, and I'm still sort of hesitant on the whole situation. But I don't know. Maybe once I see some gameplay, what is this game going to be?
Yeah.
Is it a baby crying simulator? Like I have no
One of the
idea.
things that's got me the most like bummed out was whenever I saw Norman Reedus, I immediately thought he was going to be Luden. Like I thought he was the character that is the new mascot for Kojima Productions.
Oh, right.
Because if you look at a picture of Luden, like the actual picture that they've released of like actually him, it actually kind of looks like Norman Reedus. Now that they announced that Norman Reedus is in this game, like you only get to see like around his eyes, but it looks like him wearing like a baklava. And I think that's what it's called, the fucking mask. You know what I'm talking about. But it looks like Norman Reedus, so I thought that was really cool. But like then he's came out since saying that it's not Luden, that he's not playing Luden. And I'm like, well, what the fuck? Like, why? I was excited about Luden.
I went ahead and pulled up a picture of this Luden guy, and the tagline with it for some reason is just, "I'll keep coming." And I don't know what that's about. Kojima, man. But I do like the look of the mascot for sure.
Yeah, let me rephrase my what I said to start off this discussion when I said I was excited because it's Kojima. More specifically, I'm excited to see what the fuck this game is about,
Yeah.
more so than the game itself. I'm excited to see more from it because he's got my attention. I mean, I saw that trailer and I'm like, okay, that was weird. Let's see, see what that's about later. So
I feel like so many people in the crowd had to come to terms with some shit right then and there. Like, because I'm not trying to knock anybody that's just like, it's Kojima, I'm going to play it. Because, by God, I'm in that crowd. But right now, it's because I have to know what the fuck he is smoking. Like, I have to, because the thing is that, you know, his other games, they had a point. Like, crazy shit happened, but the plot was reasonably tied up with a bow. Like, it wasn't absolutely fucking outlandish. Like, it made a little bit of sense. And so I'm sitting here going, I'll bite. Where's this going?
Yeah, since you got that picture up now, you can't see what I'm saying though. Like how around the
I
eyes.
could imagine that being Reedus in there.
Yeah, it looks like Reedus to me. So.
yeah. All right. Well, we're sitting at about an hour and a half now, so let's move on to some final games that we saw that maybe we're excited about.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
Yeah.
what do you have to mention then?
I was just gonna say, let's get out of the Sony conference and do something else.
Well, then-
you know, I feel you, but like Sony won, like
Oh, don't get me wrong, Sony won by a lot, but like I want to talk about Dead Rising 4.
Yeah, okay,
Oh,
so we talked
well,
a
you
little bit
guys-
about that last time, didn't we?
Yeah, you guys run the floor with that because I didn't see anything from Dead Rising 4. It's a series I'm not familiar with, so I'm
Chase,
gonna
you
let you
start
guys
us
just-
off, I'll get a picture going.
Okay, so like what's going on?
That's a
why-
good question.
why is Frank not like? Why doesn't Frank look like Frank?
Yeah,
You know,
Frank-
he sort of looks like Frank, but he's not Frank.
Well, here's the thing. Like, I feel like that this is actually probably just a result of the new creative design. Like, because we could already tell a huge difference between Dead Rising 2 and Dead Rising 3. Like, the faces just look different and weird. And so I feel like this could still be Frank, but they're just like, well, we don't like how he looks, so we're going to change how he looks. Like, but we pretty much confirmed that this is not a reboot. Like, this is a continuation. It's the same Frank. It's just a return to Willamette for whatever reason. And I feel like the trailer sort of confirms that because it says Frank's back. Like, so, like, he couldn't be back if this was the first time he was doing this shit.
Yeah.
But
I wonder if it takes place before 3, because you know I can't remember her name. Isabella, was that her name? Like, she's old in 3, so
Yeah.
like Frank would be old too by now.
I would be down for it to take place before 3 because by the time 3 has happened, Frank is hailed as a hero.
Yeah.
So, like, I'm curious, but I was sort of hoping that it was just Frank has sort of gone into hiding and he's moved back in, he's settled into Willamette as like a random person under assumed name, and then shit goes down again and he's just like, all right, time for me to cover some more wars.
I was about to say, time to cover some wars.
But yeah, he doesn't look like Frank at all. Here's the thing, Frank is not handsome. Frank is not charismatic. Frank is kind of a stupid dick, like, and he's like a news reporter that's just out after a story. Like, Dead Rising 1 really illustrates that. Like, he's an interesting character, but like, I'm having a weird time with this new Frank. Now, it doesn't mean I'm gonna throw it out the window, but it is a little strange.
Yeah, like, I really hope that if it is after 3, I hope they don't explain his not aging as like a result of him being bitten for some reason.
Maybe.
Because that would just be weird. I don't know.
Well, the bigger thing that I want to talk about with this game, and that I want to talk about with another game as well, is just the potential for us. I don't know if it's going to happen because I know our schedules become tremendously difficult. But this game, again, like I mentioned last time, theoretically has 4-player co-op. I don't know if I've told you this, Rhett. You may have just heard us talking about it in the previous podcast.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah. I remember you talking about that in the previous podcast, but the 4-player co-op.
I really want that to be true. I don't know that I have anything new to say about it, but I want that to be true because I personally had a fucking blast with Dead Rising 3, but I'm going to tell you right now, Dead Rising 4 needs to be a little better optimized.
Needs to be a lot better optimized. It needs to be a lot better in general.
Well, here's the thing. Like, you know, Chase, you and I were talking about Dead Rising 3 earlier, and you were talking about how much you hated it, and I was confused because I was like, I loved it. But I've been going through the Dead Rising footage so I can make that finale, and I just remembered that you couldn't do any damage for the entire last hour of that game.
Yeah. Yeah. Game kind of sucks.
So maybe they'll have learned from their lessons somewhat, or learned lessons from their mistakes somewhat.
Yeah, it's not like a horrible game, but like I would never play 3 again, whereas I would play 1 and 2, and off the record all again.
Yeah. Ian, did you ever play any of these games?
Yeah, I played the first one, and I think I played a little bit of the second one. I want to play through all of them, but I've just never gotten around to playing through them, and I would love to. I would love to co-op them.
Yeah, well, I'll tell you what. If you ever happened to get 3, like, I'm sure. Well, I don't know if Chase would play through it again, but I would.
You'd go another round, but
I'd
with a
go-
different
I'd go
comrade this
another
time.
round. Yeah, sure, why not?
Absolutely would not.
Chase would not.
We would do way better than you and Chase did.
Shit. Good luck.
But Chase, what else do you have to say about this game? Because I thought of a segue.
I don't know, like, I am really excited for it. I just hope they don't fuck it up, because 3 was awful. That's really all I got left.
I do hope that they sort of bring it back to its roots, personally, because I thought Dead Rising 1 was probably the best balance of humor and intrigue, and then Dead Rising 2 started going a little bit too deep on the humor, and then everybody was worried about Dead Rising 3 not being humorous at all, but Dead Rising 3 was silly and crazy and weird. So, like, I don't know, I kind of want it to be more mystery than wackiness than anything else. But I do want to go ahead and segue into other 4-player co-op games. How much do you guys know about Ghost Recon Wildlands?
Not a damn thing.
Never heard of it until now.
Okay, well let me go ahead and tell you something about this. Number one, we should all be wary of it because it's a goddamn Ubisoft Tom Clancy game. So
Oh God,
it might
skip.
I don't know. It just looks great to me. This is an open world squad-based shooter. It's a third-person open world squad-based shooter. It's not like a faux MMO like The Division was. It's just a 4-player game. And like I watched a gameplay video of it today, and it looked phenomenal. Like it was basically like these two dudes were sort of scouting out a camp because they were after this like Mexican terrorist basically. And they were like, okay, well, I need you to get up on that hill so you can scout it out. And the guy just went ahead and got up this hill, like this mountain, and started like marking targets, like Battlefield style. Only it's an actual campaign game. And he's like, "There's way too many people." And so they called 2 of their friends, and it was this really cool, like entire cinematic experience. Now the whole video I watched was absolutely staged as hell. Like it really was. So a number of this could be fake, but it did look really cool. So I would encourage you guys to check it out at some point.
Yeah, I'll look into that because, like I said, I'd never even heard of it until you just mentioned it. So
Yeah,
that sounds
I'll look
interesting,
into
so-
it. It does have I do have the fear of The Division creeping up on me with it, but
I don't blame you.
I am excited. Like it does sound exciting. So
Yeah, and then Chase, you mentioned or somebody mentioned earlier that we've really not touched on anything outside of the PlayStation conference. The big, go ahead.
yeah, I was just gonna say kind of about what you were probably about to say was the big thing out of the Xbox was probably Microsoft was probably the new Xbox Project Scorpio and the Xbox One S.
So I'm gonna say right now, I know very little about Scorpio. I read one piece of information that may be false.
I can give you just a quick. I've got it pulled up. I can give you a quick description of it.
Okay.
Coming holiday 2017, Project Scorpio will be the most powerful console ever created with 6 teraflops of GPU, delivering a premier console gaming experience, including true 4K gaming and high-fidelity virtual reality. Project Scorpio will join the Xbox One family and coexist alongside Xbox One and Xbox One S, and all of your Xbox One games and accessories are compatible.
Okay, so here's part of why I'm not like personally phased by this, is that to me this is the result of them not making their hardware up to date in the first damn place. Like, because, like, for example, Chase and I have talked about this for a while. There are new video cards coming out on the AMD and the NVIDIA markets that are, like, state-of-the-art, crazy-ass good video cards that are going to be cheap as hell by comparison to the other stuff on the market. And it's turning out that, like, about this time, right, like, PS4's coming out with the PS 4.5 and Xbox coming out with the Project Scorpio, and they're, like, bragging about how, like, amazing it's going to be, and it's just, like... It seems awkward to me, but I mean, it would save me some trouble. Instead of getting an Xbox One, I could possibly just get this Scorpio thing instead. But I've not shown an awful lot of interest. Chase, does this faze you at all?
I feel like it's going to cost a lot of money.
Yeah.
I feel like it's going to be upwards of $1,000. I really do.
Like, that's the weird area that I run into is that I'm looking into upgrading my computer. Like, I'm not looking into buying this, like, new Xbox that's desperately trying to catch up to what really should have released a couple of years ago. So, like, I might end up buying one of these small Xbox Ones. Like, one of these regular old Xbox Ones, because it sounds like they're basically going to continue making games that are designed for the Xbox One, but that have, like, graphics settings. Like, can it run on Xbox One settings or can it run on Scorpio settings? You see what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
And
yeah, that's kind of the way I'm seeing it too.
Yeah, and if that's the case, then like I may still get an Xbox One day just so I can play in my have one in my bedroom or something. Because this sort of ties into something else I wanted to talk about from the Microsoft conference, and that was this Xbox Play Anywhere thing. Did you hear about this?
I heard it mentioned, but I don't really remember the details from it.
So I have not heard a lot of people talking about this, but this is the biggest piece of news to me personally, is that like Xbox is working really hard to sort of unify their platform between like, you know, Xbox and the Scorpio and PC and things like that, to where like, you know, they're really pushing the whole streaming gameplay where it's just like, hey, if you've got an Xbox One, you can stream it to your PC. If you've got, or you can like stream it to a laptop, or you can play your Xbox One games wherever you are, which is kind of like what PlayStation tries to do with their like remote play features. But the big announcement that they made that has gotten me incredibly excited, it's something that I've been touching on in previous podcasts, is they've announced that if you buy the digital version of an Xbox One game that is multi-platform, you get it for Xbox One and Windows 10 PC. And it's cross-platform multiplayer.
Yeah. Now that you mention it, I remember all that being mentioned.
But it doesn't work the other way around for some reason. Like if you buy it on PC, you don't get it on Xbox.
Okay, no, you're missing the point. So like it's not that if you buy it on Xbox, you get it on PC at all. It's if you buy the digital version, period. Like if you buy a physical version, you don't get it.
Yeah.
Like, so like you can't, like if you buy a physical version of Gears of War 4 on Xbox One, you don't get both copies. If you buy a physical version of it for Windows 10, you don't get both copies. But if you buy the digital version, you get both copies, because buying the digital version is just buying both copies essentially. And I'm down. I don't have to have physical copies of my games. I've been playing most of my games on Steam anyway. The only thing that I'm skeptical about is updating to Windows 10. And I know we've had people in chat before defend Windows 10 and be like, it's really stable. People are being weird about it. But at the same time, I still have heard a lot of war stories about it, a lot of horror stories, and I've got a lot of shit on my computer that I don't need it just deleting because it's not, compatible. So
yeah, I've got Windows 10, and I'm actually on the computer I'm on right now. It's got Windows 10, and it's just always been fine for me. But I feel you. I feel where you're coming from, though.
Yeah, and well, the thing is as many of you may already know, if you're familiar with me at all, I have a gypsy curse. Like, if something can go wrong with my Windows 10 upgrade, it will. I mean, just as we were getting ready for this podcast, my computer started trying to tell me that, like, I was sending suspicious shit to Google. So, like, I was running, like, malware bites in the background as we got booted up, just because shit just constantly happens to me, and it's not all the gay porn I download, I swear. But like, I don't lie. I am so down for this. Like, this is the biggest piece of news out of Xbox to me, because it seems like for the past couple of years, Microsoft has been trying really hard to win themselves back into the good graces of gamers, and they're doing it for me. They really are. They're showing me, hey, if you want an Xbox, that's cool. If you don't, we still want to make games for you. And I'm just like, hell yeah, I'm in.
I mean, that is a good mindset to take when you're losing, though. Like, people are buying our shit. All right, so we got to get them our shit somehow.
Well, that's the thing is, even before I found out that it was you buy it digitally, you get it for both. You see, I thought it was if you buy this Xbox One game, you get it on Windows 10. Like, that's the way I thought it was. And even then, I was like, well, I might buy an Xbox One. I could use a console in my bedroom. Fuck it. Like, well, maybe one day when I have money, I'll do this. But now it's just like, I still don't need to. Like, and I've seen a lot of Xbox fans get mad about that. And I'm not trying to shit on Xbox fans. I love Xbox as a brand. But I've seen a lot of Xbox fans get mad because it's just like, it seems like every E3 Microsoft comes out and gives people more reason not to buy one.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that's
I've seen a lot of posts making fun of that, because they were like, hey, here's the new Xbox Slim, and now here's a reason to never buy one. Because Scorpio's on its way.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was the main thing that confused me, because I'm like, I feel like they shot themselves in the foot. Like, you announced the Xbox One Slim or whatever, and then and we also have this thing we're working on. So there you go.
Well, I mean, like, the limited edition Xbox One S is badass. Like, it's $399 for a 2 terabyte Xbox One S. That's pretty fucking good, considering the 1 terabyte's $349. So only for $50 more dollars. It's 2 terabytes. Like,
it's really small. Like,
it is.
They
it's
had
the
a
size
bunch
of
of
the
games.
PS4 now. Like,
They had the bunch. I think it's smaller actually. They had a bunch of games. They had it. That's the model they used to show off a bunch of their games at E3. So I got to actually play one, and it's pretty tiny. It reminds me more of like the Xbox 360 E model, kind of, because it's pretty. It's like 40% smaller than the original Xbox One.
Yeah.
So it's nice, but yeah, and all that's true, like you just said, Ian. That's great and all, but for someone like me who's never owned an Xbox One, and I don't really have a whole lot of reason to go out and get one right now, I may as well wait till like the next year and just get the Scorpio if I'm going to get anything.
The only reason I would argue against that is kind of like what Chase was saying earlier. Project Scorpio looks like it's probably going to be fucking expensive.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
stupid.
I think that's the only saving grace for the
And
the S.
so I could pay $400 to get an Xbox One that's going to do everything that Scorpio can do, just not as pretty.
Yeah.
Or save up like probably upwards to $1,000, like Chase said, and get the Project Scorpio at 2 years.
Well, I'll say this: I don't necessarily think it's gonna be insanely expensive, because part of the reason I think this all of a sudden, holy shit, we've got to upgrade our performance of our consoles. The whole reason I think that's happening is because there has been a really big technological breakthrough in graphics processing technology, which is why these cheap-ass powerful video cards are coming out. And so, like, I think Microsoft and PS4 both went, shit, we released too early, let's make new consoles. I don't necessarily think they're going to be like $1,000. I think that they're going to be like, I don't know, 500 tops, like, personally, because the new technology is there. Like, I think more than anything, they're trying to go, we can't run for 10 years on these. We've got to go ahead and pump it up.
Well, it's kind of funny, like you were talking about earlier, how Microsoft like super shit the bed like 3 years ago, and they're finally catching up. I seen a post yesterday that was funny because they were just like, Microsoft has finally caught up, and, actually got the loyalty of their fans back, whereas like Sony's been killing it for so long now. They're just like, what do we do now?
Yeah.
Like Sony's out of ideas, and then Microsoft finally caught up. So we're in a weird place.
Yeah, and that's something that I've been preaching for a while, is that because Sony got so far ahead, they stopped trying to stay ahead. They stopped trying to appease fans. Like, whenever I hear a Sony exec just go, well, I mean, we'd like to let you change your usernames, but we don't know how. like I'm just like, whoa. Fucking try harder. Like, Microsoft knows they fucked up, and they're coming out with crazy-ass good shit. Like, where's yours? like, do something for me, man.
Like, I'm glad they're catching up, but their conference was boring as shit.
Yeah, see, that's kind of something I was about to say was, I see what you're saying about Xbox catching up, and I mean, that's cool with their consoles and stuff. They ain't got no games. Like, nothing on Xbox that I give a shit about. Like,
there's 2 exclusives that I do give a shit about. One of them for sure isn't coming to PC, and that's Halo 5? Halo 5, they keep saying, no, that's not coming to PC, but Halo 6 might, essentially. Mm-hmm. And then the other one is the new Crackdown, and I almost guarantee you that shit's hitting PC, and I'm not buying an Xbox.
Yeah, so that's what I'm saying, though. Like the only things that they showed during the Xbox conference that I was really excited about, that maybe kind of want to get an Xbox. We happy for you, but that is coming
to PC,
to Windows 10, but it's going to be first on Xbox One. Mm-hmm. But We Happy for You looks interesting. Scalebound.
Oh, that's a game. Okay,
Scalebound, but it's going to be on PC. Sea of Thieves looked cool, but it's on PC. Halo Wars 2, it's on PC. Gears of War 4, it's on PC.
It's like they shot themselves in the foot twice, because they're like, they just shot both feet. Because they're like, oh man, well here's this new Xbox Slim, please buy it. We're gonna make a way more powerful version in about a year, and then plus if you already have a PC, you have no reason to buy either one of these.
Yeah, and that's the thing, is that I feel like for people that don't want to go through the trouble to custom build a PC and maintain it, because sorry PC Master Race, it's not for everybody, right? Like, for the longest time I couldn't do it, and I still have a lot of trouble with it, as I've mentioned before. So for those people that don't want to maintain an up-to-date PC, Scorpio is your fucking big thing. Like, the PS 4.5 is good news. But for the rest of us, you're giving us all kinds of good craziness. Like, the way I'm looking at it is, I'm not even really looking at Xbox as a brand. I'm saying thank you, Microsoft. But, like, a lot of console owners are just like, fuck you. And it's just like, well, we're all in this together, you guys. Like, they're not really trying to fuck console owners out of anything. It's just, the fact of the matter is that exclusivity is stupid. Like, I think we're finally starting to realize that it's no real sense in it. At least that's the way I'm looking at it.
Yeah, I see. Like literally the only thing that's coming out on Xbox that's not coming to PC as of right now is Dead Rising. Like that's the only thing that's on Xbox that I kind of care about.
I'm pretty sure it is coming to PC though.
Yeah, like I'm pretty sure it will too.
Yeah.
But like it didn't mention that, did it? Like I thought it only.
Well,
said
when Chase and I talked about it earlier, we were pretty sure that it was hitting PC because I know Chase wants to get it on Xbox, and I'm not going to. So.
Oh, actually, no. This article right here does say available 2016 on Xbox One and Windows 10.
There you go.
So yeah, I don't fucking need it. I'm just gonna keep fucking my PS4. All right.
Meanwhile, like I feel like a lot of Xbox fans see this as a downside, but it's an upside to me. Like. I don't know. My PC is my Xbox One, and that's basically where it stands for me.
Agreed.
Yeah. All right. Well, I think that's enough talk about the Xbox system. We're actually going on about 2 hours, so we need to start kind of rolling towards wrapping up.
Yeah, I was about to say that myself. Like, kind of say some last few games that we were interested in but didn't get to talk about. And
yeah, probably good call.
That's exactly what I'm going to do. I got 3 games here that I had 0 interest in prior to E3, and then I came away from E3 thinking I'm probably going to try these out.
I've got 4 games. I want to see how our lists do.
Okay, well, my 3 games I've got is just a random game I played while I was there because there was no line for it. It was Dragon Quest Builders, and
that looks cool.
It's not something I'm probably going to go out and buy, but I had fun playing it because it more or less felt like Minecraft, but with a cool, like, you get to play as a cute little Dragon Quest type character, and there's some other mechanics to it besides, like, what Minecraft has, but ultimately it's just building, like, it's even does, like, the blocks and stuff like Minecraft does. But, I mean, there's a little fighting in it. There's kind of, like, some objectives you have to complete, blueprints that you can actually lay down on the ground and just build around it. That's kind of cool. So yeah, I had a little fun playing it. I'll probably test it, especially if it's a mobile, or I'm sorry, not mobile, but a handheld. I can see me having fun playing it on 3DS. I don't know if there's any plans for it to be a 3D. I'm not sure what consoles it's coming out for or what platforms, but yeah, it was kind of fun. Tekken 7. Tekken, I've never been just a huge fan of. I play it just kind of off and on throughout the years. 7 looked kind of good. More or less the same fighting style as what we've always seen, but the fact that Akuma from Street Fighter is a main roster character now is pretty intriguing. So and the little trailer they showed for it at E3 looked kind of fun. So that looked good. And then the third game that just kind of won me over slowly as E3 went on was Mafia 3. And I have never played the Mafia series. I've never had an interest to play the Mafia series, but for whatever reason, I really want to play Mafia 3. Maybe it was the funeral party parade I saw. I don't know, but I really want to play Mafia 3. It looks fun. It looks like it has a good story, a good backstory, and I really want to play it. Matter of fact, I want to play it so bad that I actually picked up. I didn't buy, but I checked out Mafia 2 for my PS3 that I'm probably going to try out here in a little bit, just to kind of get a feel for it. So, this
is really exciting. You had 3 games, and none of them were on my list. Those all 3 sound like great games. I'm really excited about them too, but they were none of the 4 that's on my list, and that's really cool.
Excellent. Let's hear what you got then.
Spider-Man.
Yeah.
We didn't talk about Spider-Man, but it's a fucking Spider-Man game made by Insomniac. I feel like that's going to be fucking awesome.
Yeah, I feel like they're going to do a good job.
Yeah, and like the fighting reminded me a lot of the Arkham series, and it just looks fucking good. Days Gone. I'm not as soon as I saw that game, I was just like, fuck, another zombie game. I don't really want another zombie game, but it won me over in the way the zombies act. Yeah, I think this is the most zombies we've ever seen. Like while
what
they're
a statement, but yeah,
I know, right? While they're swarming after them, they like crawl over each other and stuff. They are like a true swarm coming after you, and I've never seen that before. That's got me really excited. Detroit Become Human looked really, really interesting. It kind of reminds me a lot of like a Heavy Rain and that kind of style game.
I want to be excited for that game, but I don't know if I can.
You know, I kind of thought you would be, but yeah.
I loved Heavy Rain. It's one of my favorite games of like all time. And then Beyond Two Souls was fucking awful. So like, I don't have a lot of hope for this.
Yeah. And then finally, the last game on my list is probably the one I'm the most excited about is Horizon Zero Dawn. Horizon
Hey.
Zero Dawn looked hella good.
Yeah,
And I've been thinking it looked hella good since they announced it last year. And the trailer, the gameplay trailer this year was awesome. Like how seamless it was. Like her getting on the fucking mount and fighting that big thing. And like, it just looks fucking good.
It does look good. I didn't really see that much about it. They promoted the fuck out of it at E3. They even had one of the, I don't know what the name for it is, but the little robot raptor looking thing. They had one of those walking around E3, and that was pretty cool. But I didn't get a chance to like interact with anything. So the most I saw from it was whenever I got back and you and I were hanging out together, and you showed me that trailer and gameplay footage from it, and that looked really good. So I agree. I'm on the same boat with you as that. One game you didn't mention though that I thought you were going to.
Which one?
Infinite Warfare, because you showed me that space fight.
Yeah. I completely like it just kind of slipped my mind, but yeah, that game blew me away too. Because going into that trailer, I had no idea it was Call of Duty, and like in fact, me and my friend that were watching it together, at one point halfway through that trailer, we were like, "Goodbye, Halo," because this shit looks awesome.
It does look good.
And then all of a sudden, boom! Call of Duty Infinite Warfare. I was like,
And
"Fuck."
I gotta give them props for like, well, first of all, they came out with a trailer this at E3 that they should have came out with to begin with, because
Yeah.
that first trailer they came out with was like, yeah, this looks like garbage. It's like, fuck this shit. But then you saw that, and I didn't see it at E3. Again, Ian, this is a trailer you showed me when I got back.
Mhm.
You know, but you're watching that trailer, and if you hadn't have told me what it was prior to watching it, I wouldn't have had any idea it was Call of Duty Infinite Warfare until the very end of the trailer. But it looked really
Space
fun.
combat
really
looked hella good, and then like flying through zero G and like busting people's fucking helmets open so they fucking asphyxiate. Like,
Yeah. So it looks fun. It's kind of interesting. I'm kind of waiting because I got so much hate to begin with. I'm kind of interested to see how it goes from here on out up until release. So, Chase, Jesse, either one of you guys have some games that we haven't really talked about that looked interesting to you?
Yeah, I've been excited for Scalebound since they announced it in like 2004. So, but that game's like never coming out. I feel like it looks so damn good, and every year they're like, we might maybe release this. Next year.
From
Maybe.
what I understand, they've had a lot of development issues with Microsoft.
That really sucks
yeah,
because
like-
man, it looks so fucking good. But that's the only one I can think of. Let me scroll through this list real quick. Jesse, you can go ahead.
Yeah, while
Well,
you're
the
doing
thing
that,
is, I actually interjected a lot of the ones that I was interested into the main discussion, but there are at least a couple that I want to throw in there. I still really want to play Cuphead.
Oh yeah, I forgot about Cuphead.
Cuphead looks fucking
fuck is
fly to
Cuphead?
me. Do you not know what Cuphead is,
I
Ian?
seriously have no idea.
So
I don't
here's
sure.
what Cuphead is, you guys. All right, Cuphead is a up to 2-player side-scrolling Mega Man style game, but the animation style completely imitates like Steamboat Willie era cartoons. Like
Oh yeah, Donkey talks about it.
Yeah,
It looks hella good.
it's color, but like it's so fluid. It looks like you're watching a hand-drawn cartoon. And I really want to play it. I would love to co-op it with somebody. It looks fun as hell. And I'm down. Let's see. Another thing that I really wanted to talk about was I've mentioned it half-assedly a couple of times, and I don't know if you already mentioned it in yours, Ian, but We Happy Few. So like, that's a game that I've been pumped ever since it was in Kickstarter. But the thing is that the trailer that they showed doesn't really speak volumes about what the game actually is. We Happy Few is a first-person roguelike style game set in like this dystopian like 1960s where like everybody lives in this town in like Britain, and everybody takes pills so that they don't feel sad, so everybody's always happy and upbeat and shit like that. And like you stop taking your pills and learn that everything's fucked and you need out. And the goal of the game is to escape the city, and it's just open-ended and you have no idea how to escape the
Oh.
city.
You know what? Now I think I've put together the pieces as to why I thought that was a Mafia 3 reference earlier.
Mhm.
I'm not going to call you out on it, but I think you had to go back and edit a comment on something I posted on Facebook.
Yeah, I did
mistakenly-
because I thought something had to do with We Happy Few, and then I was like, wait, that's Mafia, never mind.
That's where the okay. Got that cleared up. Was there? Oh, Ian, I'm sure you're excited about Dishonored 2 as well.
Oh, of course. So yes. there wasn't a whole lot about like we didn't learn a whole lot more new about Dishonored 2 at the C3,
Yeah.
really. But I think we got the release date finally, and that's exciting. But other than that, like we didn't really learn anything else about it. But I am super excited about it. Always been a big Dishonored fan, and this one getting to play as Corvo and Emily, it's just going to be exciting as fuck.
Oh yeah. And then Chase, I know you're excited about Yooka-laylee.
Yeah, I started to bring it up earlier when you were talking about Bloodstained, but one thing that kind of irks me about them is like the demo that was playable at E3 is the toy box that I'm gonna get for backing the game, and it pisses me off to no end that game wouldn't be a thing if not for people like me who backed it, and all those people at E3 got to play it before me, and they could potentially not be backers. And I'm just like, what the fuck is wrong with you people?
I kicked myself in the foot for this because I completely forgot about Yooka-laylee being at E3 until I listened to our previous podcast where you guys talked about it, like this morning on my way to work, and I was like, fuck, I didn't even think about that being at E3. I didn't even look for it. But then again, I didn't see anything about it. I'm not sure where the playable demo was located. Like I said, I found Bloodstained. I mean, it was on accident. I didn't know where it was supposed to be at. I just happened to stumble upon it. But looking at all those games that were playable I didn't see Yooka-laylee. I didn't see anything about it, so I missed it completely. But I mean, I would have played it if I saw it. If it was as accessible as the other demos, not like Zelda or nothing, but I'm sure it would have been as accessible as like Bloodstained was. I would have definitely played it. I just forgot all about it and didn't see it when I was there. So
Yeah.
so if it makes you feel any better, I didn't play it, so you'll get to play it before I do. So
Yeah, I feel like what they should have done is similar to the Resident Evil 7 demo. They should have been like, to all you backers out there, the demo was just sent out. Just like they were like, hey, Resident Evil 7's available right now, and Halo Wars 2 is available right now. Go get it.
yeah. So what sucks is talking about being a backer and stuff. If I had backed Bloodstained before, I would have got a copy of the demo they had at E3.
Oh, that's cool.
Man.
Yeah, so that kind of sucks. But hey, I got to play it once, so that's all that matters. So, did you guys think up of any other games you saw that you were kind of excited about?
Can't wait to play Watch Dogs 2.
I kind of want to play Sea of Thieves,
no.
but I don't want to play.
I was just say that's gotta be. Sea of Thieves, I wanted to try out because they had a lot of demo stations set up for it, but
Yeah, it looks
there
cool.
was kind of a line for it, and every time I thought about going over to try it out, I didn't really have the time to set in line. So I don't know.
I'm gonna be straight up. Recon looks like the poor man's version of Horizon.
Yeah, I didn't
Yeah.
see that. But
Yeah, I pretty much mentioned everything I'm excited about, either in that last little moment or the things I was saying about Xbox that were both on Xbox and PC. All those games I mentioned, I'm interested in. I'm just not as interested in those as I am some of the other things.
It's going to be a good year for the Vita.
Yep.
oh yeah,
Vita's making a comeback. Man, I'm excited that I bought an N-Gage recently
Because
that was
it's backwards compatible with Vita games.
yeah.
They did about as well as each
I
other.
haven't been able to put down my Tiger.com since I got back from E3. So does
Okay,
anybody
first
remember
off,
what I
time
talked about?
out. Chase, did you say the Vita and the N-Gage did the same amount of success?
Pretty much,
Do you remember
yeah.
the N-Gage?
Oh, Lord.
It's funny you bring up Engage because I had to Vox in to try to think of the Flash cartoon we used to watch, the Decline of Video Gaming.
Yeah.
Because I was talking about the Engage jokingly with my district manager that I went to E3 with, and I was like, "Have you ever seen this Flash cartoon?" They talked about how lame it was to buy the Engage, and I had to CNN messing around with Vox. I was like, "Oh, what was the name of that cartoon?" And I finally figured it out. So, but yeah, that's
N-Gage.
yeah.
Dave
Yeah.
just got bought an N-Gage.
But well, I mean, overall, like I've been mentioning this entire episode, this is my first time getting to go to E3. I had a blast. I mean, this is saying a lot. I go to conventions like several times throughout the year. At the bare minimum, 3 times. It's usually somewhere between 3 to 5 or 6, just kind of depending on my luck with it. And we've been going since, especially like me and Ian, we've been going since 2009. So it's been a while.
Yeah.
So I'll say this much.
Technically, Chase is in that boat, too.
Yeah, technically so, yes.
Chase would do with
I mean,
us.
we've all been to conventions, but that's not here nor there. My point is, I've been going for a while, and E3 was, by all accounts, more as far as an event, the most fun I've ever had at anything. It was way more fun than any convention I've ever been to. And that's kind of crazy because a lot of people, like there's people I was there with that have been going for the past few years, and they were talking about how it was a down year for the event. They're like, yeah, the lines are longer this year. It's just not as fun as what it was last year. And I'm just like, guys, I'm having a blast. This is my first year, and I just can't. I don't want to go home because I just want to stay here and play games for like another two weeks.
Well, you know,
So-
it's fine because all 4 of us will be there next year as Bro Up.
Oh, obviously.
I was going to say, like, I mean, hopefully it's not my last time going. Hopefully we'll all 4 get to go, which is
Yeah.
where the audience comes in. Hey, you know, chat viewers, people, help us get this thing off the ground so we can go to E3.
That sounded so genuine too. Just like, hey, you fuckers listening, tell everybody about us.
But like, you know, that may sound selfish, like us being like, you know, hey, help us go to E3. But hey, if we get to go to E3, y'all get news quicker. So
Yeah, we might could do like a live
yeah,
podcast from E3 or something. That'd be kind of fun. So
that'd be hella awesome.
hopefully we'll get to go. We're seeing some
Hideo
sad
Kojima.
faces. Seeing some sad faces in chat. That's just turn that frown upside down. Donate us money and get us off the ground.
That was beautiful.
God
that came
damn.
right out of my ass. I'm not going to lie to you guys. I just as I was talking, that just kind of accidentally rhymed. But hey, it worked out. But yeah, hopefully we'll all get to go sometime. Check out some of that VR porn, especially, and get back to you guys. But I think that's enough. We've talked about all the games that we saw that we were excited about. We talked about. I don't know if we talked about anything that we just necessarily wasn't excited about, but either way, we've went through a whole list of games here. So we definitely were able to have this E3 conversation that we've been planning for a couple of weeks. So so with that said, we'll go ahead and start wrapping up. Chase, tell people your Twitch channel.
Oh,
Tell 'em now.
hold on. Actually, you know what? Fuck it. I hardly ever use mine. You can find me here at the Bro Up channel, and then I tweet almost never. So just don't waste your time.
Awesome. You're way to be active. Ian, how can people keep in touch with you?
You can keep up with that and then
Just smash letters on your keyboard and you'll wind up at his Facebook page.
you can keep in touch with me on twitch.tv/justice_gaming. That's where I stream if I ever do solo stream, but last time I solo streamed was Starbound, and that hasn't been for a long time. And then you can find me at facebook.com/fightonforjustice. And on Twitter, what's my Twitter handle? I don't fucking remember.
You don't tweet. Don't worry about it.
I do actually. I have been tweeting a lot more here lately.
Yeah.
Justice Gaming 75. That's my
Hell yeah.
Twitter.
Okay. Jesse, any way you want people to keep up with you?
Okay, I do have Twitter. It's MRJGATZB, but generally you can find me running the Bro Op Twitter, which is Bro Op Games on Twitter. And then otherwise, I'm primarily just accessible through our other, pages. So the Facebook, the YouTube, the Twitch.
Yeah.
I am trying to do some more solo streams, but that winds up being on the main Bro Op channel.
Excellent. And as far as myself, I am on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and Twitch. I am Tenseiken on all of them. Facebook and Twitter, I'm definitely active on. Instagram, I'm active on every once in a while. And Twitch, you'll catch me on about once every 4 years. So, but hopefully that'll change sometime in the future. But that's how you can keep up with me. And then as far as Bro Up in general, our YouTube channel is youtube.com/broupgames. Do you have to do the user? In
It's
there?
user, yeah, because
Okay.
it's still a pain in the ass to get a custom URL.
Sorry, I tried to take over the Bro Op thing and I fucked it up. But
I don't mind that at all. You keep going. Don't stop now.
Well, all
Come
I
on.
gotta do is search the name and the blur.
Yeah, youtube.com/user/BroUpGames, or you can search for us. Facebook, it's just best to search for us at Bro Up Games because it's fucked up. Twitter, we're at Bro Up Games, and Twitch, it's Bro Up Live. Twitch.tv/BroUpLive.
Shit,
So that's how
yeah.
you can keep up
What about
with
that
us.
Facebook?
He said that one.
Did
I
we
said the
do it? I
Facebook.
didn't hit the Facebook. I'm
I
sorry.
said search us on Facebook because the URL's fucked up.
Wait.
Well, no, he
the
fixed
Facebook
the
one
URL.
works.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, I got an old URL. So what's the
It's-
actual address?
Go ahead.
It's bro.op.live, right?
No,
I
it's
forgot about
bro.op.games.
Games, that's right. Games, my bad.
I wish
Okay,
everything
I
was
took
just
this-
bro op without all the extra dickery.
I took this straight from one of our previous podcast
two stepping
episodes on our
out.
podcast host, and it's got an older URL, so I need to update that. But anyway, this has been Bro Up Radio talking about E3. It's been great to be back. I'm glad I was able to be a part of this episode, and we're gonna try to. We've done pretty well with having at least one episode per month. We're going to stay on that pace and maybe try to squeeze in a second episode here and there if we can. But we'll, as whenever more information on that surfaces, we'll definitely let you guys know. Other than that, thank you guys for joining us on the Bro Up Radio podcast. And until next time, take it easy.
See you guys.
See you later.